Welcome to episode 2 of the 2024 World Putting League season. I'm JT Tilley, and today Pro League Network brings to you a new era in competitive minigolf. After 5 events in 2023, we witnessed a showing of dominance by the one and only Joey Graybeal. His game evolved so rapidly, it created a cult following in the minigolf space. However, new competitors look to emerge as WPL introduces the Survivor Series. Last week, we saw a favorite Gary Hester struggle mightily through 18 holes, while Tim Talley surged his way in the clutch at sudden death. Today, the remaining 6 competitors will compete for a shot at the final on April 2nd. Who do you think will survive?
Let me tell you something. It's Joey versus the field in my mind. Joey is Tiger Woods of PGA. He's the Lance Armstrong of bicycle racing. Well established, Joey does not take steroids, at least as far as we know.
I've been eating a lot of spaghetti, pizza, steak and gravy, and meatloaf. I've been training really hard.
Let's introduce our commentators, Rob Pizzola and Zach Phillips, as they give their breakdown next.
Joey Graybeal, Bristol, Tennessee.
Michael Rutledge, Bluff City, Tennessee.
John Powell, Gaffney, South Carolina. Go Heels!
Welcome back to event number 2 of the World Putt League Survivor Series. I'm Zach Phillips, joined here today by Rob Pizzola to help you break down some betting and walk you through the event as it takes place here today, as these final competitors of this field of 6 look to lock in their spot at the final event coming up April 2nd here today at the Hawaiian Village Pineapple Course. We talked about it last week, but we'll talk about it again here today. It's considered one of the toughest courses of the North Beach there, Rob. Now, we're going to get into the field. Are you still riding with Greg Newport here as your pick this week?
Well, I think Greg Newport and Joey Graybeal are closer than the odds indicate.
Yeah.
I'm going to ride with John Ace Ventura. I'm going deep on the board here. And the way that Ventura plays, I think is very conducive to winning this type of event. Lots of progression. So I'm going long shot this time, Ace Ventura.
Well, when Joey hears that, he's saying to himself, Rob, don't break my heart. My breaking heart. Let's head on down to him on hole number 1 here to kick off event number 2. I mean, look at that mullet. We have not seen that out of him yet here on the World Putt League Series.
You have to go with the Mullet Maverick as the new nickname for Joey there. He gets things started. Catches. Oh!
Drops that one in using every part of the hole.
He's laughing right now. He knows he got a little bit lucky there. I think he just grazed that right rock. See the fist pump. And off to a great start in terms of, I mean, this is one where I'm disappointed if you don't get an ace. It's not that like the expectation is that you're going to ace it, but because it is the most aceable hole on our course, you really want to start off strong.
Yeah, not only is he going to be happy about starting this one off with an ace, but he's thinking in the back of his head, that scumbag Pizzola. And there you go, 2 straight aces
2 for 2
to start off hole number 1. This is a hole that didn't see aces in until the sudden death of the last event, and that actually ended up being the Rick Alessi there, because we didn't see aces. You see 2, and all of a sudden Alessi is unable to make one at that end of his day.
And you wonder if Rutledge just like feeling the pressure now. I've seen the first 2 ace. And he just misses that outside there. I wonder, that's going to be a very tough spot to see 2 people who are favored over you, go ace, and now you have to follow that up. This is a key deuce point here. We did see a 3 on the first hole last time. There we go. In for 2. Good start.
And what is it that those putters are called there, where you pick it up out of the hole?
I don't know the terminology, but I like it.
Yeah, I like them as well. And using that as his device there, I think it's a pretty good strategy. Conserve some energy as we go along with taking a look at the leaderboard here. Now, Rutledge walks away from hole number 1, even par. John Powell and Joey Graybeal both able to knock down aces to open up this event. And yet again, I mean, just talking about the fact that these guys start off strong. This is a strong field that we're looking at. Guys who are capable of putting up low score, firing in aces. It feels like that's kind of the ideal start for Joey Graybeal.
3 of the top 6 are going to move on today. So of the 6 putters on course, your top 3 will go to a sudden death playoff. One of them will win that, and they will be secured to the finals where they will meet Tim Talley. And our 2 highest wildcard scores from previous events will fill out our final 4 event on April 2nd. We're on to hole number 2 here, Zach. And with this hole in specific, it's just a tough one in that you're not going to ace. What the putters are going to want to do here is just not blow up, essentially.
Yeah.
You're aiming for as short a deuce putt as possible. If you look through the rounds at the Masters and the U.S. Open, the scoring average on this hole was 2.76. It's the highest handicap hole on the course. This is a real big test.
And this is where we saw things kind of start to come to a head in event number 1 when we got to the sudden death. We were talking about, hey, keep it safe, get out of there even par, do whatever you can to just nestle this thing up close to the hole. Results in kind of a little bit more of a pressure situation here. Now, obviously, with these guys in this event here, in this field specifically, you know that they're able to handle that for the most part. But it's definitely one of those ones where you come out of one, you're feeling good. Now you're going to go into this hole that seemingly is easy. It's opened up. You can get there and get an even par pretty smoothly. But if this thing goes sideways, this is a tough hole to have as number 2, where you've now got in your own head a little bit, thinking that was an easy one, and I just fumbled it.
There's a couple of holes on the front 9, number 2 and number 6, where you're just going to really want to prevent that blow up. And those are the types of holes that can completely ruin your confidence. I speak from experience, being on a course before where you put up a 4 or 5, and it doesn't matter how good you're putting. Once you put up that big number, it's very hard not to get in your own head because you just drop shots. You know you're going to have to remain competitive. So that's a real challenge with those particular holes. But so far, hole number 1, we see Joey Graybeal ace that and like not even a great putt. You would say that to us after the fact there, but it seems like he's always able to act one way or another.
Yeah.
He was able to do that.
You know that after last event when we talked about the fact that I talked about at least the fact that I'm not the great. You agree. I don't know how much I needed to hear that, but you agreed. Joey sent me a text on how to fix my putting, the stance, how I'm looking at the ball. So that was appreciated. No, he didn't suggest that, but he did give me some, hey, here's how to set up the base. Here's how to look over the ball, kind of get your shoulders set up. So it was good advice. I appreciated that.
Rutledge here on number 2. Wonder if we're going to break down the attire there. Wearing the Tiger Woods red, Rutledge. Sunday red.
Sunday red. Rutledge is up on the bank there with his feet positioning and
you know what? That's a tough leave. You want to try to get it and nestle it as close as possible. And you can see the unfamiliarity of this course. Look at the amount of notes Rutledge has right here. He didn't play a competitive round here at the Masters or the U.S. Open. Some pretty big cards.
That looks like what used to happen when I would reach into my elementary school backpack after being handed a bunch of sheets of paper, not realizing how many I'd thrown in there. But Rutledge knocks that one in and walks away with yet another par here.
You know what? Putting in the work matters because all these deuce putts will add up. You'd be disappointed to not get these, particularly on this hole, but these deuce putts add up as we see Graybeal on the tee here at number 2. And again, the goal right here is just to nestle it in as close as he can to the hole. It's a feel putt, precision putt.
Yeah. You know he's feeling himself with that clean-looking mullet. He's going to put that one real close with an opportunity to get in. Just doesn't get there. Pulls up just outside, but he's going to have himself a nice, easy tap-in to walk away with another par. And you got to think he's going to feel happy about that. I mean, 100%. It doesn't go in.
100%. Doesn't have to sweat over the second putt. I would call that a perfect putt. I know it didn't go in the hole, but that's about as good as you can get. And he's looking pretty cool and collected right now out there on the course with the shades, the mullet, looking very comfortable out there as we're heading into number 3. Graybeal on top, 1 under, through 2 right now. And hole 3 here, the bank shot, something that we saw in the first course. Players will be looking to fly that bank off of the yellow brick at the back. It is aceable, roughly 1 in 5 times. You will see an ace here. Typically, you're not going to see too many bogeys. So this is one that they'll try to get after here.
And obviously Powell there, picking up the stroke on that last hole, now moves to plus 600 outright. We're going to continue to get live odds updates thanks to Bet365. If you did bet ahead of time and you're looking to get some action down now while this is taking place, head on over to Bet365 for live in-play odds on today's event number 2 of the World League Survivor Series. But taking a look at Michael Rutledge lining up this button. And that's Sunday Red. He looks ready to go.
I mean, it's certainly an interesting stroke. He's very low to the ground. His back is almost at a 90
Well,
degree.
and he kind of holds it a little bit like hockey stick.
But that's the bank.
Oh.
But, that's the putt. A little bit unfortunate there. I think if he catches even a bit of that hole, that goes down.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, right weight, right pace there. Just not able to get it to go away with a par. Hole number 3 here, so just kind of stay within the mix. I feel like this is what we saw out of event number 1. It's not a bad strategy, but taking a look at Graybeal, his whole 3 stats here, 33% ace, 67% par. I think he's going to be going for it. This is going to be one of those ones he's going to want badly to continue to open up the lead.
Can he get the right kick?
It's the bank, and
misses to the spin side is Rutledge.
very similar there, but just a little bit further outside than what we just saw from Rutledge.
And you can see the disappointment when you don't make aces on the holes where you have a chance to make ace.
Yeah, that one is going to bother Joey, but knowing him, that he's not going to carry that one with him.
And based off the way that Graybeal's hair is flapping there in the wind,
It
the
does.
wind might be playing a little bit of a factor here today, more so than we thought.
That's effectively our in-stadium flag, is when they cut to Graybeal's hair. So that'll give us a good update of what's going on live on the course in terms of the weather conditions. But here's John Powell with his opportunities. A leaf comes in the way at the last second and just can't get it to go.
And all 3 of these putters just missing by the slimmest of margins here, which is very impactful for the overall hole-in-one odds on this course today, set at 15.5 for the 6 putters that we're going to see today. This is one where you would have typically wanted to see at least 1 drop. Kind of balances out the 2 aces that are coming in or have come in on hole number 1 so far.
Well, what do you make of that hat that we're seeing out of John Powell there, Rob? And they told us be aware of some interesting headwear choices. I like it. I personally am a fan.
The shade-seeking sniper I'm going to have to go with for John Powell out there. We saw Tim Talley win the first event with a hat.
Yeah.
Maybe Powell's trying to follow suit, although that's been like, that's been his thing. I'm not
Yes.
suggesting he's copying Tim Talley.
Right.
That's what Powell is known for.
Well, now through 3 holes, we're heading on to hole number 4 here. We see the live odds board continue to adjust. Michael Rutledge out to plus 1,200 now. That continues to move with our money coming in and also as things have continued to change. But with these guys only 1 stroke back of Graybeal, I mean, Rob, is there any way you'd be looking to play live here? Is there anyone that you'd be looking to go after? Is plus 1,200 too much of an adjustment?
It's possible. I would more so be looking to someone in the second group today, teeing off later on,
Right.
who kind of knows where they're at, as we see another putt that just inches by Graybeal there. This is a front door putt. You got to get the speed perfect, and you really have to challenge that little hill on the left side. It's a very, very weird putt. You'll see the putters line up right to the right of the tee box, try to barely miss that hill to the left, and just get the perfect speed, but it's really delicate. And you can see just a fraction off there from Graybeal.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't want to say it, but it's one of those where it feels early here a little bit like Graybeal's kind of in that position where, we see it all the time here as Toronto residents and Leafs fans get goalied. You go into a game, you're playing really well, you're taking it to carrying the pace of play. You're right around it in terms of these putts. You have these ace opportunities, but they're just not going down. You're not scoring goals. You're not putting it up on the board to continue to give yourself that lead. And at some point, if these guys continue to hang around, Powell and Rutledge here, they might be able to catch you and take over this group.
Yeah, absolutely. The one person, though, that I don't think those misses will have an impact on is Joey Graybeal. Of all the people on the World Putting League Tour, he is the one that just doesn't seem to get fazed by a lot of these things. So I'm sure he's upset about those misses, but I don't think that they're going to really spoil the party for him going forwards. I think those are just an afterthought at this point.
Here's Rutledge to close out hole number 4. He's got that one on a
good.
direct line, and it goes.
Wow.
That'll even things up there. He's going to tie Joey Graybeal at the top of the leaderboard, both sitting at -1 here now. And
Shows the ball to the camera.
let him know.
There you
Let
go.
him know.
Rutledge is a guy that can go low, and he went off as high as 14-1 at Bet365 prior to this event. An extreme long shot because he doesn't have the course history there. He's now down to +850 at Bet365. And honestly, looks like he's done a pretty good job practicing this course. He seems to know the putts pretty well in the early going. Maybe the guy that is a valuable price right now at +850, considering he's tied for the lead.
Yeah, and just as we said, just coming from +1200 ahead of that hole there. So you see that movement after he gets an ace there on hole number 4. As we're going to head to hole number 5 here, Rob, can you take us through what we might see and how these golfers might approach this?
Yeah, there's many different ways to play this shot, but ultimately this is uphill the entire way, and it breaks from right to left. You could go with a bank, you could go with front door. There is possibility of rolling off the back and back in. So there's a lot of different ways to play this shot, but another one where it is aceable about 17% of the time.
This is one John Powell himself has not made, but 100% par rate.
He's going front door.
And he's going, gets the ace.
Yep, he got it. The front door putt. Interested to see how the others will play it today. We did see in the first event some of the putters preferring to go for that bank shot off the yellow brick.
Yeah.
It looks like Rutledge is lining it up on a very similar line here. Whether or not he is going for the front door putt remains to be seen.
Well, Rutledge just coming off an ace on hole number 4. Let's see if he can knock one down here on hole number 5 to make it back-to-back.
He is going front door. I think he's a little short. Yes.
Yeah.
Looked light. And it's a delicate putt, but
Not
again,
happy with himself
the
there.
disappointment.
Yeah.
I think he knows he had the line and just didn't have the speed there.
I think he's got to talk to Graybeal here and consolidate that book. That is, it's an impressive set of papers he's got on him.
I mean, that's like having another 2 pounds in your back pocket. I don't know how that affects the putting stroke. It can't help.
It's like, I believe, isn't it George, who's got the
wallet.
The wallet and the back problems? Yeah, maybe this is, you take that out and it eases the operation for Rutledge.
Old school Seinfeld reference right there.
Yeah. Big Seinfeld fan. Well, Graybeal to close this hole number 5 out.
7% ace on hole number 5. Sometimes there's just certain holes where you feel really comfortable with them, and for Graybeal, this is one of them.
And he doesn't get it to
and
go.
Another one. If you add up the misses from Graybeal on his first putts today, it's probably less than a foot total on the 4 deuces that he's had.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, do you think that this is one where now, I mean, it is still early. We're only through 5, but 67% of the time he's acing this hole, as you saw on the screen there. Is he now disappointed that he didn't ace this one? We've seen a couple close misses, but this is the one that feels like, hey, this is what you normally do. You normally knock this in one, and you don't get it done here.
From my experience, he's just very level-headed. You can start to see the smile is gone on this hole, by the way. As soon as he picked up that ball of the hole, the smile is gone. He's no longer turning the camera and laughing. But he is pretty level-headed. So I'm not sure how much of an impact it's having, but all 3 of our putters so far off to a good start, 1 under through 5. Still, A little bit of disappointment, though, from each and every single one of them in that they've been so close to 2 under, 3 under so far. In some cases, even 4 under for Graybeal with some of those misses. And you wonder what the headspace is going to be like going forwards here into hole number 6, which is, like I mentioned earlier, very inviting, tempting to make an ace. But this is the hole where you don't want to go long and get too close to that back wall where you could potentially have a real challenge with your second shot.
Well, Rutledge tees off, and he's going to leave that one long. Not going to get a bounce off the back. He will get relief, but...
And he knows this is bad news.
Yeah.
This is the one thing you don't want to do. He will get his 8 inches of relief off the back there, but look at what his stance is going to look like as a right-handed putter with that pillar in the way. It's just very challenging at this point.
Well, whether you're watching with us live on the Hammer HQ YouTube channel or over on theworldputtingleague.com, if this is your first time tuning in, you can see on the screen there, they're going to continue to help explain some of the rules. But as Rob just mentioned, you do get 8 inches of relief away from something like this. This is a difficult decision for Rutledge, how he's trying to approach that. You just see him go left-handed. You see him go right-handed here, back at it. What's going through his head here, Rob? And I mean, how would you play this one if this is you?
Well, for me, I would switch to lefty, but he seems more comfortable one-handed, right-handed putting stroke. This will be very interesting. And he nailed it. But that's a one-handed putt, and that's the risk you take if you go long here. You can get that exact type of stance. We saw Gary Hester in the first round put it a little bit past. Didn't end up in a situation where he struggled with the deuce putt, but Rutledge will be very happy. And you do see the fist pump there from the big rig. Yeah. He is in this one as the long shot.
Those shades of Jordan Spieth there, cleaning that thing up with some artistry. Graybeal going to leave down just short again.
Continuing the trend of near misses. I mean, little showmanship with the one-handed tap in there.
I'm kind of surprised he didn't wear some crazy flashy shirt this week. You think that this was just he's making a statement about the hair?
Maybe he wanted to draw the attention to the hair instead of the pants. Very possible, yes.
Oh, wow. Different approach.
I think that was a miss there. I think that was a miss in that he just left it a little short. Didn't really cost him anything, and you'd much rather be short of the hole here as John Powell taps in for his number 2 there. But disappointing first putt there, didn't really give that ball a chance. As we are now going to move on to number 7. To number 8. 7.
And the odds board will correct itself there in terms of what's going on with where the leaders are currently at. But now as you kind of start to close this front 9 out, we're not seeing a big gap here as we might have thought Joey Graybeal might have had after this, at this point, kind of heading towards the back. Based on the way he's played here, it feels like he's deserving to be in the lead. It's not necessarily that the other guys haven't done enough to keep up with it, but he's come up just short. Is there a point here where maybe he starts to play a little bit more aggressively? Does this start to creep in? Does he change strategy? Take us inside the mind of Joey Graybeal if you can here and explain what might be going on throughout the remainder of this front 9.
Well, 7 and 8 right here, Zach, is the easiest 2-hole stretch on the course. So it's not about playing aggressive. It's just about hitting your putts because they're both very aceable. Whoever can come out on top on 7 and 8 here has a very big advantage over the rest of the field because you're not going to get a ton of aceable holes on the back 9. And this is the double snaker, and he nailed it. He nailed it. There we go. We see a little vintage fist pump right there from Joey Graybeal. That is something that he does really often in these events. And Joey is playing for his good friends Rick Baird and Vanette Block today. Very close to his heart. So hopefully he puts in a good round.
And you know he's got $2 pork chops on the mind, thinking about getting out of here with the victory and heading on over with the rest of the putters. And John Powell just doesn't get it to go. He's going to get a little bit of a rollback, but not quite enough to give himself a tap in. Looking to close this one out.
I didn't want to give him the commentator mush here, but the 2 putts are fairly easy on this hole. You don't tend to see bogeys on this hole. It's a lot of 1s, a lot of 2s. It's very rare to see a 3, but certainly this is aceable. You just don't want to be too aggressive because there is an out of bounds in play if you go too hard over that back lip. It's rare, but it has happened before. This is a very delicate light putt where you don't want to bring that back hill into play.
And Rutledge just misses to the left. It's going to roll back, but not quite enough. As Rob said there, you don't want to bring that back into play. You want to give yourself an opportunity to go OB and pick up a stroke, and Michael Rutledge does not there. But he's going to leave a little bit of room to close this out, and he gets it to go. So there you go. That'll conclude the first 7 holes as we head to our feature hole, hole number 8. Rob, as we go to approach this one, with the way that these guys are playing right now, kind of how dialed in they all seem to be and how close to the hole that they've been and getting these aces. Where are you at here through 7 as we get to this 1.5 right now?
Yeah, this is really interesting, but definitely advantage Graybeal going into this hole with the lead he's at. Now, Graybeal 4 of 4 in his last 4 attempts on hole 8. He has aced this pretty consistently. This is an aceable hole. John Powell is going to play the front door approach, which is a delicate right to left putt. You got to get your timing right. Michael Rutledge, not a lot of experience with this course. He's had a tendency to go out of bounds in practice rounds. You can see if you potentially play off the back and look for that roll back into the hole, it could work, but you also have the risk of OB. So 3 very different ways to play this hole, all of which has their pros and cons. But ultimately, this is aceable, and for those who bet the over here, they'll be looking for some aces on this one.
Well, John Powell hits an ace on this hole 67% of the time. Looking to knock this one down. And he gets it to go. There
and
you
the front
go.
door putt right in. That's one.
At 1.5 with 5 putters remaining, it feels pretty.
Feels good, and we got a little emotion from the putters, which I like to see. Yeah. I like to see it. The big peak of John Powell in business.
Oh, Michael Rutledge looking to make this 2 consecutive on hole number 8 here.
Backing off. Look, hit it.
Goes back.
Just missed it. Now that's a little bit of an unconventional putt. It's not to say that you can't play it that way. And he's disappointed that he didn't ace it there. But you don't see a lot of putters take that line, which is right off the back wall. You either see the front door or the play off the yellow brick. Be interesting to see how Graybeal plays this one. Again, known for acing this hole, has had a lot of success on hole number 8 here.
You know, this is one he's going to want to take advantage of to close out this front 9. He's going to have opportunity here.
Looks like he's going front door as well. Same line. And he missed, but he has a second chance.
Comes back.
He does not get it. He does not get it.
Well, the sweat will continue for those of you who bet the over 1.5 on hole number 8 here, our feature hole of the day, as we walk away with 1 ace through these 3 putters, and that would come at the hands of John Powell, as we're going to head to hole number 9 here to close out the front 9 of group number 1. Where are you at here, Rob, in terms of how things are shaping up between these guys and who might walk away in the lead of this group?
Honestly, just very impressed with all 3 putters so far, other than I think one really bad tee shot by big rig Michael Rutledge on number 6, where he left himself a tricky deuce putt one-handed. It's been around the hole for a lot of these guys. No real issues on the deuce putt altogether. So all 3 playing really well at the moment.
Well, taking a look at the live updated leaderboard there, Joey Graybeal and John Powell both tied at 2 under. Michael Rutledge there, -1 right now, plus 900 on the odds board. And as we're going to head to the cave hole here on hole number 9, we'll take a look down at the course, hear from the putters, and see what's going on ground level with our rinkside commentator. I was going to say there, like a little Canadian creeping into me, our course side commentator, Guy.
Electric. It is electric down here in Myrtle Beach. I'm with Ace, the shooter, the one and only. Ace, how are you feeling about today?
I'm feeling pretty good. I'm hitting the ball good speed, and things are working out pretty good.
Awesome. You mentioned earlier that the heat might play into the game. How do you feel like about that?
Well, the heat right now, it's a little bit warmer than it was, and the grass seems to get a little crisp, so it'll make it rough.
Ball move faster under the heat,
No,
slower?
slower. Yeah, oh, yeah.
And what do you think that's going to do to your game?
Not much. I just have good speed on this course. I love it.
Experience. Tell me, Ace, you can see here the other three. They've been playing pretty well. How do you think the threesome is threesoming?
Be honest with you, I think they're playing a little just short of everything. They're not as aggressive as I thought they'd be, and they need to pick it up right now, because on the back nine, you can't get aggressive.
You going to come out here aggressive today?
Very aggressive.
I like to hear that, huh?
Oh, yeah.
Tell me, in terms of the wind, what do you think that's going to do to your game?
I've been out here plenty of times. I'll just have to adjust with it. Depends upon which way it's coming in at.
Ace, you told me earlier that your wife is watching. Are you?
Yes.
Is that how you're playing for today?
Oh, definitely. She's a sweetheart, Kathy is.
Always. And she's told you no Rutledge for today, or Ritalin?
None.
So we're going to play well.
Oh, yeah.
Awesome. You can see they're coming through the cave now. This is normally where a lot of people fall off. How do you normally fare in the cave?
I like it very much. It's actually one of my favorite holes on the course. I shoot it left-handed.
You work well in dark spaces?
Oh, definitely. I'm getting old and can't see anyway.
Awesome. Okay, that'll be all for Ace today.
Thank you.
Now, Rob, seeing them take a approach here in the cave, it looks like some of the shadows might be coming into play. This is also one that we've talked about, where you're going to have the decision to make. Are you going to play this right-handed, or are you going to play this left-handed? Looks like Rutledge might be in a little bit of trouble here coming out of the cave on hole 9.
Yeah, so he played his tee shot left-handed, and he mishit it, and he's left with a lengthy goose putt, which he's not going to make here. So ultimately, playing lefty is an advantage here because you have a better stance, but he just didn't hit a great putt there with his left-handed stroke in the first go-round. So difficult end to the front nine for Michael Rutledge there. And we heard Ace Ventura talk about it. A lot of these guys have been playing a little bit more conservatively than we've expected so far. He's going to go for it in his second round today. That's what I like to hear.
Yeah.
From who I picked to win.
Yes, exactly. Rob would.
Oh, Stan.
Oh my!
Wow,
Oh.
And it's funny because John Ventura talks about these guys haven't played as aggressively as I thought they would. You see Rutledge go for an aggressive line, leaves it short. You see Joey go for an aggressive line in terms of or speed, almost goes out of bounds. So 2 aggressive putts here on 9 after Ventura called him out for leaving him a little bit short.
Oh no!
Wow. Oh wow!
Oh my goodness!
We do not see that very often. We do not see that very often from the Tennessee Tapper, Joey Graybeal.
Joey Graybeal there, walking away with bogey on this one. This is a hole that he had never aced before, but coming away from that one with a bogey. I mean, you're, at least from Joey's perspective, you come away, and so did Rutledge, but John Powell closing out this group, he just has to walk away with a par here, and he's going to be laughing.
Interesting where he's teeing this up, which is just right in the center. We typically do not see that. And
this misses.
That's pretty good roll there. If he was playing for a deuce, he didn't take that ace line, but set himself up in a good position. And maybe that's just the product of seeing both putters go bogey on number 9 here, as John Powell's looking pretty solid there with the brimmed hat.
Well, and him and Graybeal both took a little bit more of an aggressive approach using that back wall. I would say that's something that gave us a little bit of a scare as we watched that. But look at the live leaderboard there. John Powell now in the lead through your front 9, 2 under for John. Graybeal coming up there second, -1, and Michael Rutledge at closing out this group number 1 at even par as of right now. As they look to head to the back 9, you heard Ventura essentially call them out and say these guys haven't been that aggressive. I think Graybeal just is naturally an aggressive putter. Do you think Michael Rutledge, someone who knew going into this event he was an underdog, he was going to have a little bit of a hill to climb? He's sitting at the back of this pack now, but it's not by too much. Is he going to ramp things up here from an aggressive, like how aggressive he's going to play?
I think he knows he has to, but there's just not a lot of scoring opportunities on this back 9. There's more on the front 9. Now, this is one of them. This putt is going to go right to left. It can be played from either side of the tee box, but it's a delicate putt where you just got to get your speed right. And Joey just misses that right there. And he'll have a tap and deuce. This is one of the more aceable holes on the back nine. 10 and 12 are the ones we're going to see where putters will really want to put in that ace because there's just not a lot of other opportunities to do so here.
Joey cleans that one up there, walks away with the par here, but he's not going to be happy about that. Yet another hole that he leaves just short or misses by just an inch or two, where he could have had an ace, could have yet again found a way to tie up John Powell here as earlier, him missing those ace opportunities. Let these guys kind of hang around a little bit, and Ron's going to nestle that thing right up to the front. Just not enough.
Needed maybe 2 more ball rotations there, and that's in the hole. But John Powell's playing really well right now. I'm very impressed with his game. He had that bad bogey on number 2, but aside from that, he's been consistently around the hole. I really like his course management, like we saw last hole, where he saw a bogey from Rutledge and Graybeal and said, you know what, I'm going to go for the 2 here and just play not to lose a stroke on these guys. I think he's playing really well today.
Interesting comment here I see in the YouTube chat on the Hammer HQ right now. Abnormally Distributed says, I know we shouldn't overreact to one event, but it seems like the title is up for grabs this year. Not a Verstappen situation. We talked about Joey Graybeal. He's the GOAT of the WPL. He finds a way to win every event. After what we saw in week number 1 and event number 1, it felt like things were a little bit more open. We kept thinking to ourselves, hey, this is the event. Graybeal, Newport, those are the 2 guys at the top of the pack as Michael Rutledge drops in an ace there.
There we go.
Get right back in. And kind of to AD's point here in the chat, is this just anyone's year? Is this a little bit more of an open opportunity for someone to come out of the shadows and take the title?
Well, when we're looking at the stats that were leading into the event, there's just not a lot separating these putters. There's like 1 stroke on average separating a guy like Joey Graybeal from John Powell. So certainly it's anyone's event and could be anyone's year as we see how these players have been preparing for the course this week. And Graybeal, obviously, as I mentioned, just loading up on. Now, I'm not sure about that strategy. Training real hard by eating pizza, steak, and meatloaf. I'm not sure that constitutes as training. John Powell, I've beaten all these guys once before. I'm ready to do it again. Looking good so far. Rutledge, I view putting as a break from work. I mean, putting policeman, Michael Rutledge, I'd rather be out on the course too. Don't get me wrong. I think that's certainly a break from work here as we go into hole number 11, which is a disaster in play type of hole here, as we saw from Rick Alessi the first time around. So you want to kind of kiss both hills on this.
God.
Yep. I mean, that's...
I'm not going to say it, but he leaves himself in a pretty good position there.
This is a hole that you just see very few aces.
Yeah.
And when I say very few, I'm talking about 1 in every 200 shots. This hole is going to go into the hole. But you're playing for a short deuce putt. The worst thing you can do here is miss your tee shot too far right on that first hill, and it just goes out of bounds in that spot. But there's a secondary spot where it can go out of bounds, which is right here.
And Rutledge out of bounds will take a 1-stroke penalty. We'll drop this ball from the spot that it went out. They're going to put this one down 8 inches of relief from the outside. That's got to be a killer, especially coming off what he just did on the last hole.
And this is shades of Rick Alessi in event 1 because now you take your stroke penalty. So you're putting 3 right now. And this is no game. This is one of the tougher putts you're going to have on the course all day long. So this is very important. You can see him really taking his time there, and he knows he missed left right away. And the same way that Rick Alessi missed that putt in event number 1. So that's going to be a disappointing 4 after gaining a stroke last hole. Let's get him back to here on hole number 11, which is, again, a really, really, really challenging hole. One of the more difficult ones on the course.
Not going to be happy with himself. They're going to need to shake it off, move forward, to have an opportunity or give himself an opportunity to come back here in this event with how open things have felt here so far. It really is anyone's game at this point. Graybeal leaves that one just short there. Another opportunity to knock this one down and walk away with an even par. You are running out of time here a little bit, Rob. Do we see any strategy changes from any of these putters the rest of the way?
I don't know that you can necessarily just change your strategy on a whim here, because there are so few holes down the stretch between number 13 and 18 that are aceable. You might see some more aggression on 16 and 17, but right now, this is the one, number 12, one of our featured holes, where every single one of these guys in the field, especially Michael Rutledge sitting at 1 over right now, knows that they have to ace this hole. This is one of those where you will feel disappointed if you don't get it to go in. You have 2 separate lines. We saw in event number 1, most of our putters chose to play it off of the rock, and bounce it into the hole. And Michael Rutledge said that this is his favorite hole on the course. Hopefully he can get an ace and keep himself alive in this event.
Well, and we're going to see this one played fairly differently between golfers. And you see John Powell, who said he's one of the few golfers, if not the only golfer, that's not going to be playing it off the rock. So Rutledge with his putt there hits the rock.
And this guy wasn't joking.
Yeah.
He loves this hole.
He loves this hole.
He was not joking.
He's going to love it a little bit more to make up for what he just did on the last one.
The body language is not great there for
Yeah.
Rutledge. It's a little defeated, and I get it. Obviously, coming off of a 4, it's tough to get out of that mentality, but that was a great stroke right there for big rig Michael Rutledge.
Graybeal's going to need this one to drop. He's never recorded an ace on this hole in tournament play. Going to need that to change here. It's the rock. And
He just didn't get the bounce. And that's what some of the competitors were saying about that rock, is that it's not consistent with the kick that you'll get. Sometimes it bounces towards the hole. Sometimes you get the one exactly like Joey got right. And he's wondering, he's like, well, I just hit the same putt that Rutledge did. How did yours goes in? How did mine not go in?
Yeah.
As he's moving on to hole number 13, we're looking to find some shade. I know Joey on the course, but that's a tough one. And here we're going to get the straight putt, as you mentioned.
Straight on at it. John Powell, one of the only competitors who will not be playing off that rock. He's going direct routes and just
Get a
misses.
kickback here. Not enough. Not enough.
I like the swag here on John Powell, though. The hat, he's got the long flowing hair, the beard going on. He looks calm, he looks comfortable, and he knocks that putt in with authority to walk away with even par on this hole.
Yeah, interesting dynamic to that hole, obviously, with the multiple ways you can play it. I personally like to play my putts more on the line that Powell did there, where you take the variance out of the equation, right? So you might have a smaller chance of an ace, but you don't get the weird ticks no matter what. But Powell's still playing really well, 2 under through 12. His live odds in the event plus 475 now at 365. Joey Graybeal, who went off in the range of plus 175 prior to the tournament, now up to plus 220 for anyone who's looking at those live betting markets.
Now, when we're talking about the way that this live outright market is going to shape up, obviously we're looking at the board here now, and through Group 1, you want to see these guys win, but the winner of Group 1, the winner of Group 2, these guys will advance on to a sudden death, and then you do have to win sudden death to be the outright winner of today's event, so that is something to take into account. But is there a point here where you start to look to back Graybeal on these in this live market?
It's tough because I want to back Graybeal when I know that he can get super aggressive and put up a low score. But these back holes here are challenging. This is one where you can ace it. It won't go directly in the hole. You want to hit it past the hole on the right side and look for a kickback. This is the line. He just didn't get the right kick. But that is the line that you're going for here. If you miss this hole on the left, out of bounds does come into play as well, especially if you hit it with the speed that Joey just hit it with. So he's going to card his deuce there, but there's just not a lot of opportunities down the stretch here to put up an ace. So to back a guy like Joey at this point, I think it's counterintuitive because you want to back him in situations where you know that he can go really low.
Well, we're going to see John Powell take his approach here, and looks like he's angling himself quite a lot more than what we've seen most of the putters go off at. And as well, if we took a look at the live total hole-in-ones market that went up,
so he's looking for the double bank.
Aggressive there.
And love it.
And he gets it to go.
And that is a huge putt. The double banker, we saw someone try that in event number 1, and he's opening up a 2-stroke lead now. 3 under, really solid going into these back holes here. It's going to be hard to improve that score, but he looks pretty solid in terms of coming out of this first group.
Yeah. And as I had mentioned before he teed off, and Rutledge taking an aggressive approach. Wow. See, I think if he doesn't hit the hole there, there's a decent opportunity for that one to maybe have a different look off the back wall coming back to the hole, but grabs the lip of it on the way. Obviously, a little too much heat. He's going to end up with a little bit of a more lengthy putt to close out with even par.
I don't think I've ever seen a putt go in on this hole that has been front door.
Right.
So once you catch that hole, you're just coming in way too hot, hoping to get a nice little kick off the back there, as you can see in the graphic. So it's aceable. We're not going to see it happen many times. We're looking at maybe 2 or 3 times out of every 100 strokes. 1 in 50-ish type of opportunity, 1 in 40-ish type of opportunity. But it can happen if you get the right kick off the bat. You just need to hit that perfect line with the perfect speed.
And for John Powell here through the final 5 holes of today's group number 1 event, we're going to see Powell plus 350 currently still sitting. He is 3 under and with a 2-stroke lead over Joey Graybeal there. Mike Rutledge still sitting at even par. I mean, this is one of those ones he's going to want to kind of just, you're not going to take your foot off the gas per se, but this is where you kind of start to work things in and hopefully just kind of keep it calm, keep it comfortable ahead of you. You know, keep it safe, knock in par putts when you have to. You do have a 2-stroke lead. You can just ride that one out through the remainder of this event.
So he's got a bad bank there and left himself a little bit of work for 2. If I were in John Powell's shoes at this point, 3 under is a solid score. It would take pretty much all 3 players in the second group today to go 4 under or better for you to be eliminated from this competition. So I'm playing here as conservatively as possible as he snakes that one into the right side of the hole. But playing conservatively here, 3 under would be really good. Don't make a big mistake. Don't get super aggressive with the putts. It's on the other hand here where you have Joey Graybeal, especially Mike Rutledge, who they got to find a way to get aces on holes that are typically not aced.
And taking a look at Rutledge's scorecard there, it's been a little bit of an up and down day for him, obviously leading him to be in the position that he's in, sitting last in this group number 1, but the day is not over. This round is not over, and anything could happen. Look to mess this one up, put himself in a good position.
He wants to miss just to the left of the hole, get a good kick, and you get a lot of that dead kick that we see a lot, which is that bounce off the rock up into the air. This is a very common landing spot for a lot of these spots. And Mike is disappointed, but it's just a really hard hole to ace. He's going to rue that 4, obviously, on hole number 11.
Yeah.
That was a major turning point for him. And talk about the fine margins in a putting competition. A 1 hole like that where you have a blow-up would mean the end of your day. On a course like this, that's extremely challenging. There's just not a lot of makeup opportunities.
Yeah, and you look at the leaderboard, he's 1 stroke behind Graybeal. That's double. He walks away with just even a bogey on that one. He's tied with Joey, and Joey himself is going to have another tough putt here to walk away with the par.
And that's one of the challenges in all of professional in golf. When you're playing off of a brick or a rock, you get very random kicks sometimes, very unpredictable kicks, and this is certainly one of those. And he drains that juice spot.
Cleans things up there to get away with minimal consequence. But, I mean, you're going to see a little bit of flash out of him with that mullet that he's got. And we talked about the fact that he didn't have the flashy pants or flashy shirt this week, but he is donning a little bit of flash on his collar there. You can see it on not only him, but the rest of the field as they are wearing these chips. And if you're wondering what the chips are on the shirts and hats, those are putt buddies, which you'll hear a little bit more about later, but they're basically just really cool ball markers and divot tools that you can see over thanks to our friends at Putt Buddies. And the golfers have been given an opportunity here today to don some of that as part of their WPL Survivor Series event number 2 apparel, and boy, does it look good.
And look at these odds shifting in real time. John Powell plus 280 to Joey Graybeal plus 260. You look at the group that hasn't teed off yet. John Ventura now down to plus 650, was as high as 11 to 1 earlier today. just the board is really condensing at this point. It's truly anyone's game at this point.
Well, Michael Rutledge will lead us off here, this hole, and you got to think he's looking at this as there's a little bit of an opportunity with a door open. You see Powell taking the lead. He's got a couple stroke advantage here and probably going to try to play things safe throughout the rest of the way and not trip himself up. But you get the winner of this group, the winner of Group 2, you're going to have three best scores heading to a sudden death situation where the slate erases. If Rutledge stays around, if he gives himself an opportunity, he could be in that final group.
For sure. Now, this hole in particular is where everyone is playing for as easy a deuce as possible. You do not see aces on this hole. This is a bank shot, exactly like you saw Rutledge play it, but some players will play it with different speed, and really they're just trying to nestle it up to the hole as much as possible. A really, really challenging hole on this course. You see an average score of about 2.2 here, so above par, but a really tough one, and let's see if Rutledge can hit his deuce putt here.
Rob, you got to go out on the course. You got to play yourself in some different atmospheres, some different environments. How difficult is it to actually have your feet planted off the course like that? We saw Rutledge take a stance on the hill. We saw people standing before in the wood chips. We see them standing on the rocks. We see them leaning against these walls in the cave. How difficult is
Extremely challenging. It's not something you experience in traditional golf when you're on a putting green. You don't have any wonky stances or anything like that. I've had putts where I've had 1 foot in the air. I've had 1 foot on the course and another off the course. And that's one of the biggest challenges, is that you get into situations that you just don't practice very often, and you're forced in that moment to put together a good shot.
As we see Graybeal here with 1 foot up here as well, trying to knock this in from a very similar position as where Rutledge just was, and he gets that one with ease, but he's still not going to be the happiest camper out on the course there based on the way his round has gone today.
What I love about Graybeal's deuce putts, he just aims for the back of the hole and puts it in there. He almost takes the break out of the equation sometimes, the way that hammers those deuce putts.
That's what I found here with John Powell today. I feel like when he's putting in these second putts, he's doing it with authority. The way he approaches it, the way he looks at the hole, it's look at the hole, knock that thing down. There's not too much other thinking going on. He seems to be get up, knock it in.
Gets his relief here, 8 inches from the edge of the hill.
Bang.
And drains it as well. All 3 putters with the par on 15, and all of them would have to take a par there in a hole that you just don't ace. But on to number 16 here. And this is the most aceable of our final 3 holes here on the course. It's a huge uphill hole. It's uphill about 90% of the way. The green breaks from right to left. Players got to make sure that they get their putt up top, or it's going to come right back.
Right.
But this is one where you could potentially get it about 1 in 10 times as we look at our hole-in-one tracker up on screen here. 15.5 are the odds. Got 9 aces so far.
9 through the first group. This over was set at -150. Now, either way, whether you bet this one on the feature holes, 8, 12, if you bet this on the totals, you're going to have a little bit of a sweat going on for the rest of the day.
You are, but over-bettors will feel good right now. Over-bettors will feel good about their spot because you get John Ventura in that second group, who does love to go for the aces.
Starting from kind of the cave-like scene there, it's going to be a little bit of a tunnel for Joey Graybeal, dealing with some shadows here as well. He steps up for his approach, feet backed up against the outside of that cave there.
And again, you'll want to see this ball start to the right of the hole. Cut back left. Very aggressive line there. And this is a challenge.
Long putt.
This is a long one for the deuce. And you look at that scorecard from Graybeal that they showed up on screen there. Really just the bogey on number 9.
Yeah.
Aside from that, all those close missed aces right off the top coming back to bite him right now.
Yeah, this is going to be one that's going to be a little bit haunting for him, where he's going to think back to those missing by an inch, 2 inches, blipping out, whatever it was throughout the course of the day.
Oh, and he pushed that one to the
no
right.
one there.
That's going to be a number 3. And this is how it gets away from you. You go for that ace, and all of a sudden you leave yourself a long deuce.
John Powell steps up, and you know, at the end of the day, he's just going to be looking to just not do what Graybeal did. You've got the lead. You've got a couple strokes. Graybeal's the next closest person to you on the leaderboard here today. Walk away with the par. There's 3 holes remaining. Walk away with the par, and you're going to feel pretty good about yourself.
Right to left.
Well, why walk away with a par when you could walk away with an ace and continue to open up
great.
that lead?
Powell is feeling himself right now at 4 under. This is a very, very good score for the way the course is playing, and should set him up very, very nicely to at least make the sudden death event later on today. But I'll tell you right now, Zach, there's 3 putters who are not out on the course right now, and all these guys are friends on tour. They respect each other, but certainly they just watched Joey Graybeal bogey this hole, and there was probably a couple quiet fist bumps back there, because that's going to open things up for that second group. And you think of guys like Tim Talley, who've already made the finals. He's probably there thinking to himself, I get to dodge Graybeal in all likelihood as well. That was a big miss by Joey for his
Rutledge on the rollback. Not quite to go, but not too difficult of a putt for him to knock in with a par. But yeah, Rob, I mean, talking about door being open, yeah, you're trying to get to that sudden death, trying to get into a playoff, give yourself a position into the final event on April 2nd. We head to hole number 17, and taking a look yet again at how these guys were preparing for this.
I got to talk to Mr. Graybeal. I don't know that the food regimen really worked. Like a couple salads maybe would have been a little bit better. I don't know about that diet leading up to the tournament here for Mr. Graybeal.
I like how he didn't just say, I'm eating pizza, steak, meatloaf. I'm eating a lot of pizza, steak, meatloaf, as if he was doing it more than normal.
And we look at this from a live betting perspective. Guys like Randy Reeves, John Ventura really stand out now in the live markets because of the likelihood that we will not see Joey Graybeal and Michael Rutledge advance here. There's really an advantage to these guys that are going off afterwards because they know the scores that they have to get. But getting 5-1 on a couple putters who have a decent chance of making that sudden death round, playoff round today, not a bad idea.
That feels like a tough miss there for John Powell. Pulled that one left a little bit and goes off the bank, and it's going to have a bit of a ways to go to come back.
So this hole, the camera angle does not do it justice in terms of how far uphill this is.
Right.
This is a very steep incline. They call this hole the gingerbread man, but basically players are trying to do what John Powell did, just with a little bit better pace. You want to hit it off that back brick and get it back to the hole for a decent 2-putt, as he's just been draining these deuces today.
This has just been the work of a machine here from John Powell today. It's nothing has phased him. No missed putts have phased him. We haven't seen him get too high. We didn't see him get too low. This is just business as usual for him, and it's paid off as he is in the lead of group number 1. But a couple holes remaining. Him, Michael Rutledge stepping up with maybe an opportunity here to surpass Joey Graybeal on the leaderboard. That's not going to do it there, Rob.
And see, you really get the gist of it now.
Short.
And it's unfortunate for Rutledge. He really had to get it up there. Now, this is not a penalty because the ball rolled off the tee box. So it's not a penalty stroke. It did not technically go out of bounds over a hill or anything like that. So he'll just get to re-tee, and he's still playing his number 2 shot. But the reality is he would have had to ace this hole to have any chance of making the wild card round. Or the playoff round, later on today.
I think if you've just misses that.
And that would have been a great first putt right there. But unfortunately, it was the second putt.
Yeah. You know what? Maybe having to get the machete out and go weed whack and find his ball after the first putt didn't put him in the right mindset there for that one to go in. But it's not it. You know what? He's going to look at his scorecard. It's not the prettiest scorecard, but he did not have a bad showing here today.
I totally agree.
Graybeal looking to kind of right the ship a little bit.
Little
Leaving
light,
it short.
and it holds up there. But that's a disappointing effort from Joey, who very likely needed that one to go in.
So you see Randy Reeves in the background looking on, realizing the opportunity that he might have for himself coming up in a couple of minutes to kick off group number 2.
Randy Reeves and Joey Graybeal, very good friends as well. Got to enjoy some Coors Lights and pork chops with the two of them
$2 pork
at a
chops.
local establishment. Last time it was in North Myrtle Beach.
We got producer Jacob here with us. Jacob, $2 pork chops. The deal sounds good, but come on, there's something concerning about
I will
that.
tell
No?
you, the first time I heard about these $2 pork chops, I was very skeptical. After trying them, fantastic. Very fine German establishment in North Myrtle.
I got to taste it to believe it. $2.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem real.
That's what I'm saying. There's something.
Hey, man, he's
something
drawing
up
you
with
in there to buy the beers. I'll tell you how it works.
Yeah,
That's the way
fair.
she rolls, but it's totally worth it.
Is that their loss leader? Pork chops?
There it is.
Well, there you go. The leader of the WPL group number 1 here, as we're going to wrap up and head to hole number 18. John Powell, 4 under on the day, a 4-stroke lead. I don't think anybody saw that coming here over Joey Graybeal. Whether you thought Graybeal was going to win or not, 4-stroke lead for John Powell, Rob. That was not something I saw coming.
Yeah, definitely not. And he'll want to hold that lead. 4 under is very solid. He'll feel very good about his chances going into or getting into a playoff. However, got to hold that. And this is a very challenging hole to do that. It's really difficult to see his tee shot.
Wow.
That's pretty well done there by Michael Rutledge. But you tee it up as close to the right border as possible. The green breaks so hard from left to right. And out of bounds is very much in play on that right-hand side there. As you saw Rutledge flirting with it, but ended up with a really good putt there and ends off with a par.
Well, got to be happy about that. Close out with par. Pretty good approach putt for Michael Rutledge. Not the day that he would have wanted. He's still 1 over here through 18. But you know what, Rob? It's like myself. I pretty much hack and whack the entire day, but I walk out of there with a 4-foot putt that goes right in the middle of the hole, and I say to myself, I'm coming back tomorrow. I think I found something. So Michael Rutledge, maybe he feels like, you know what? He's on the right track to close this one out.
And just so people are aware how much of an anomaly this round is by Joey Graybeal here. 6 rounds at the U.S. Open, didn't shoot worse than 35. 3 rounds at the Masters, shot 32, 32, 33. So he's in there for a 36. And you just don't see that. It just doesn't really happen on a Joey Graybeal all that often. So disappointing round for him. He'll definitely be back. Certainly one of the best, if not the best putters on tour. But not some days it just doesn't work out for you. And all those early misses today, borderline misses, caught up to him.
Powell there keeps it in play. Got a little sketchy, but does keep it in play and should be a pretty clean finish to what has been a tidy day for himself. And tidy day, tidy fit.
The Brim Beacon, 4 under par. Great round.
Yeah.
Really, really impressive round, including the first event that we saw last Monday, Zach. I think this is the best overall performance we've seen so far. Just really had it together for the duration of the round. And well-deserved 4 under for John Powell, as our 3 competitors waiting in the clubhouse certainly liked what they saw today, as they're all very live.
Yeah, John Powell up plus 450, the outright winner, or odds, 4 odds for the outright winner here for event number 2 ahead of this event. Obviously takes group number 1 there, but Rob, as you said, you're sitting in that clubhouse. You're just kind of watching and waiting for these guys to finish things up. And we know that the format of this one, it opens things up a little bit more as well, because you have the 3 best scores. You go to the sudden death, and you're going to have an opportunity to win that and secure a spot into the final round. But it's not just about that, right? You look at some of the wild card opportunities. It's about having the next best scores of everyone. Event number 1, event number 2 here today to get yourself into that finals on April 2nd. You see guys here today, Graybeal, Rutledge, kind of not able to keep up with Powell and how well he played. You look back to last week's event, you look at some of the scores that were posted. It feels like this one could be wide open for any of these next three golfers to grab a spot in that final round.
Absolutely. And we've talked about this, Zach, because of the format of this event. This threesome has the biggest advantage of all the players that are participating in the World Putting League Survivor Series, because all three of them know exactly where they stand right now.
Right.
So they're going to be playing knowing exactly what they need to shoot to move on in this event. And that's a big advantage for them going forward. Also, we saw them walking the course here. We saw Ace Ventura after hole number 8. We saw Randy Reeves out on the course here as well. They all know how it's playing. They know the speed. They got to watch these other putters out there, and they saw where things were missing. So overall, these guys should be dialed in for this event. We should see a couple of these golfers put in rounds of at least 1 under, 2 under, and really go for it here to secure that spot, potentially with John Powell in our 3-man playoff later on today.
Well, looking at the next three golfers here, Newport, Ventura, Reeves, we saw the adjustments that were made on the live leaderboard as that first group was going and playing through, and you see the favorite of the day, Joey Graybeal, not have himself the best day. It's not like he's completely out of it, but you're going to kind of need one of these guys, or the next three guys here, to not really push past and have the kind of day that John Powell did. Is there anyone that's piquing your interest right now? You obviously came into this one. You were a fan of Ace Ventura at the odds that he set at. Is that kind of still where you're looking? You think maybe this one opens up for Newport a little bit?
I think Greg Newport's the most complete putter of the remaining three. He's just very consistent. If I round off the rounds that he's carded here at the Aloha, 31, 33, 32, 35, 33, 31, 34, 33, 34.
Yeah.
He goes low very often, very consistent with those numbers. So certainly he's up there, but Randy Reeves has shot 31 here. Ace Ventura has shot 31 here. Ace Ventura in practices this week apparently has gone pretty low as well, feeling the course. We saw him talk about that on the course of Guy after hole number 8. So ultimately, it's anyone's game. I do think Newport is the best putter in the field, but this is one round, Zach. This isn't we're playing 10 rounds and all of a sudden, whoever has the lowest average is going on. That Newport would have a big advantage. This is one round. Any of these guys can go low.
Well, you are joined here today by myself, Zach Phillips, and Rob Pizzola to continue to break down World Putting League Survivor Series event number 2 as we take a look at group number 2 here of this event. We're going to head on over to Newport, Reeves, and Ventura as they're going to look to compete.
Greg Newport, Hickory, North Carolina.
John Ventura, Little River, South Carolina.
Randy Reeves, Auburn, Alabama. War Eagle!
All the boys, they look sharp with those windbreakers on.
I'm a big fan of those. Really big fan of those.
He's that one up nicely through, but
wow,
he's going to get it to go and starts it off right.
There we go. And these putters know exactly where to put it, right?
Yeah.
And these guys all know that it's going to funnel in right
Fired
to left.
up.
Wow. Love an excitement from the consistency king, Greg Newport.
That's me. I drop an ace on hole number 1. I'm calling the clubhouse and asking what the course record is because I'm going low. But not these guys. This is business as usual. We're going to see Ventura step up to the plate here and look to follow in the steps of Greg Newport with his opening ace. And that total on the day that we saw ahead of time, 15.5, feels like the underbetter's day is in danger right now.
It really does. It really does. Maybe a little too much.
And another one.
There we go. Great. I love the gear from Ventura. I got to tell you, those Sweden socks that he's wearing with the cargo shorts, the T-shirt, the vest, guy's rocking it right now.
Oh, the Sweden socks are crazy. Come on. What the high socks like
big
that?
Zlatan Ibrahimovic fan I've heard from John Ventura. And Randy's got to feel the pressure now. Again, he's ace. This is exactly like Rutledge in the first round today. I'd be shaking a little bit more on this putt right now. Boom.
Not Randy. 3 straight.
Boom.
3 straight go down for aces on hole number 1 here. Again, it blows my mind watching this happen, knowing what we saw last week, where through 2 groups we didn't see one, and now through 2 here today we've watched. I believe this was 5 go in out of 6 golfers just even through the first round. So there you go. What an opening hole for all 3 golfers in this one as we look at that live updated odds board.
Just to put this into context, you have a 30.4% chance of hitting an ace on number 1. The probability of all 3 putters hitting an ace would be 2.8%. So we see that roughly 3 times out of 100 right there, 1 in 33. Very good start from these guys who know they have to go low.
Well, Rob, if I had parlayed that all together of all 3 of those guys acing hole number 1, I wouldn't have been at work tomorrow.
One can dream, Zach. One can dream.
As we head to hole number 2 here again, we discussed it numerous times. Not really a hole that you're going to be acing. And looking at John Ventura, not a hole he has ever aced. Just another opportunity to play it safe, get up close to the hole, and walk away with a par here.
67% par percentage from John Ventura here as well. You'd like to see that number a little bit higher, but this is a tough hole. Scoring average is 2.76, the highest handicap hole on the course.
Yeah.
You just really, again, want to get close to possible on this hole, and you can't leave it short or else it'll come right back to you. That looks like a pretty solid putt. Little work left to do there, but mission accomplished of getting it up, getting it close to the hole. And now you just got to trust that you've practiced this enough. You know your second putt.
The socks are just too high to me, Rob. I don't know, too high. Too high on the socks.
I'm not a high socks guy myself, to be quite honest with you, but the look is working for me today.
Well, working for you and hopefully continuing to work for John Ace Ventura. He knocks down the par putt, gets out of there still -1 on the day through 2 holes.
Good start. Good start. Looks good. Put that in rather easily there.
Well, Randy Reeves up next and gonna look to follow suit. You know, Rob, I'm going to be completely honest with you. The first time that they put up the numbers there for Ventura on this hole, the reason I didn't say them out loud is because I very quickly in my head went, where's the other 33%? And realized that bogeys are a thing that can happen.
Wow!
Not for Randy Reeves as he goes the complete other way and aces this one.
I do not think I cannot underestimate how difficult it is to get an ace on number. It doesn't happen. Aces on 2 are so infrequent. We will go entire tournaments. We'll go the full U.S. Open, the full Masters without an ace. That is almost a historical shot there. We don't call them horseshoes for nothing. The Horseshoe Hall of Famer, Randy Reeves, does the near impossible with an ace on number 2.
A where were you when type of moment, if you will. Randy Reeves knocks in the ace, opens things up on a very, very difficult hole, 2 ace. Now Greg Newport here to close out this group on hole number 2. Leaves himself a little bit of room, a little bit of meat on the bone to walk away with a par here and stay in the pack. But you could imagine that's got to be feeling good for Randy Reeves and his confidence level moving forward.
We got our analytics team really working right now to see if you've ever seen aces back-to-back on number 1 and number 2 at this course. But my quick scan tells me no, we haven't. We'll see if this is a first all-timer. We have not. It has been confirmed. First ever back-to-back aces on this course come from the Horseshoe Hall of Famer, Randy Reeves. Really, really impressive there to start.
A World Putting League historical moment there that we just witnessed. Heritage moment, yes. Randy Reeves now catapulting himself up into second on the live leaderboard, plus 250 to win outright here today. John Powell still sitting at the top, plus 230, but Randy Reeves only 2 strokes back through 2 holes. He's got to be feeling pretty calm, pretty comfortable, and pretty confident moving forward here today.
Honestly, there's probably some stuff creeping into John Powell's head right now of like, is my 4 under going to, like, what have I done to deserve this? Basically, shot a great round of 4 under. And these guys are really looking good for the first 2 holes. We approach number 3, aceable here. Players are going to be looking to play that bank shot off of the yellow brick. Can Reeves go 3 for 3 to begin his day here?
Come on. Come on.
Ooh. Great putt. Great putt. Gave it a chance.
Robin, tournament play, as you mentioned, history. 0 for 253 on aces in hole 1 and hole 2 back-to-back before today.
Unbelievable. You just don't see it on that hole.
Not here, not at the Hawaiian Village Pineapple Course. That is just definitely not something we've seen. And pretty cool moment, Rob. You know, I never imagined myself being play-by-play broadcaster, let alone for professional putting. And here I am today witnessing history and Greg Newport
just a little short. A little short. It's one of those moments, Zach, I'm not going to have kids and I won't have grandkids. But if I did, I'd be telling my grandkids where I was when Randy Reeves hit an ace on number 2.
This is one of those. You know, kids, sit down and let Grandpa tell you a story about the moment we were a part of at Sweaty Studio in Toronto.
And we're getting more details about this. That was actually the first recorded ace on hole 2 ever in tournament play. Wow. So not only has he gone back-to-back 1-2, which obviously had never been done because no one ever aced number 2, but that was the first ever ace on 2 in tournament play. And fitting, it comes from the man nicknamed Horseshoes. Of course it would.
Of course, why wouldn't it? As we look at those socks stand out.
He knows he didn't get the line there. He knows he didn't get the line. He walked immediately after that putt. But you know what? Ventura's a flashy guy. He's a flashy guy. He likes the attention. He once told me that he gave himself the nickname Ace Ventura before Jim Carrey's Ace Ventura came out, which I told him I'm not buying it. Sorry, John. I'm sorry. I'm not buying it. But you know what? It's within the range of possibility. I'll tell you that.
It's a non-zero that could have happened. That's for sure. But you know what? In defense of our fellow Canadian, Jim Carrey, I'm going to say that was.
I think John might be looking for some royalties or something. He's a smart guy.
Well, can't put it past him. As we take a look at the live leaderboard there, John Ventura still well within the reach of Randy Reeves at the top of group number 2, and these guys are all still within reach of John Powell at the top at -4. Obviously put up an incredible score for him today, sitting in the clubhouse there, but Randy Reeves, Greg Newport, John Ventura all starting off really strong through 3 holes. We head to number 4, and Rob, looking at that leaderboard, is the value kind of gone on these guys at this point for an outright winner on a live market?
It's really tough because of the condensed field right now at this point. This is a hole that can change things. It is aceable. It's a front door putt. You got to get the speed perfect, and that speed is like next to nothing. It's a very, very delicate putt. But finest of margins here is players will tee off right from the right-hand side and look to just narrowly miss that hill on the left. Newport up first. That's a little bit too much pace. That's the line. He's going to tap in for a 2 there. Very oftentimes when the putter comes right out of the stance right away to follow the ball, it's not a good sign. It's usually a sign that they know that they have missed the line.
And, you know, people think, hey, I could just pick this up. I could go out there and I could shoot as well as these guys. That's not the case, Rob. No. You've got to go and do it. Truly, the amount of information and studying that goes into this, the knowledge these guys have of the courses, the weight, like, watching Randy Reeves putt, it looks like I'm looking at the metronome above my mom's piano, the pace that he's got and how smooth he is. But it's reading things like this where you're taking away the ups, the hills, the slants, right to left, avoiding rocks, which rocks to hit, that goes into it. So this isn't something that just everyone can pick up and do.
That stroke there from John Ventura was very interesting. Couldn't tell if he putted with a little bit of spin or he was just asking for the ball to turn over a little bit. Narrow missed, but I'll be interested to see if he breaks out that stroke again.
Well, as I see in the chat here, I wish I could take this for myself. I can't, but Ace Ventura, all Swedish, no finish as of right now. Yeah, you didn't like that one.
Not bad. Oh, just misses it to the right. Again, very delicate putt. None of our competitors hit it here. Under bettors on total holes in one, they remain alive. But I'm still very fascinated by that Ventura putting stroke with the hands turned over. It's almost like playing a draw a little bit.
Yeah.
Just tried to draw it in there.
Yeah, we see many different styles of putting here on the tour, but that one is certainly something interesting.
Listen, you find what works for you, and it could be unorthodox, unconventional, but as long as you can hit it on the same line pretty consistently, you go with what works.
Well, as we head to hole number 5, taking a look at how these guys prepared for the event and thoughts going into this one. Greg Newport there saying, I'm my own worst enemy out there. If I play well, it will be lights out. And we've seen him kind of ride up and down with the emotions of the tournament and how things have gone for him in events past. And I think that wearing his foot on his sleeve is certainly something that he's going to be taking into consideration. John Ventura, the days of being looked at as just the old guy are over. I'm coming for you all. Yeah, I think that you're getting chirped about how did you pick Ventura. You see that putting stroke.
I love the killer instinct from Ventura.
That's something you want to hear as someone who's got money down backing him. You know, the days of being looked at as just the old guy are over. I'm coming for you. That's what we're looking for.
For a more familiar reference, he's viewed as the Shooter McGavin of the tour. High quality player, but he can really get under the other player's skin, and he's very confident in his skills as well.
Well, heading back to live action here. Ace.
Oh, got that Dagwoods across the street again. Fine establishment, that Dagwoods.
$2 pork chops, Jacob.
And there we go. And the kick. You got the kick out.
Getting the leg kick out on the drain putt is... I need some friends over at the WPL to grab a clip of that for us.
I mean,
so
better yet, we're going to get
out.
a high-res picture. I think I'm going to put it in the border behind me.
Yes.
Of the John Ventura kick out.
Yes.
Big fan of that Sally with the Swedish socks on right now.
I like that. See, I'm kind of freshly moved into my apartment. That might be something I need framed and put up on the wall. That leg kick with those Swedish socks, it's art.
Haunting, actually.
It's
haunting is what I would call it.
You know, I kind of need the picture of Dagwoods in the back, though, when I get that image. Let's take a look at Randy Reeves here. Back-to-back aces, and since then, hard both of his last two holes, and that just feels like a missed putt.
Yeah, missed the line there. Could tell pretty quickly that wasn't on line. Not a strong effort, but ultimately he'll take his deuce and move on. This is a hole that's aced just about 17% of the time. So not the end of the world there for Randy, but never really gave him a chance at the game.
Rob, we got to see some celebrities take part in some of these events in the past, and you think with the retirement of Jason Kelsey that this might be something that he looks forward to in his future. Not only, podcasting only does so much for you. You still need a little bit of that competitive juices. Is this maybe where he should be looking to take his talents now?
I'm not sure if they have kegs of beer on course, but that's probably the only way you're getting Jason Kelsey out there. I think Newport thought that one was going to go down there.
Yeah.
I really do.
It looked good. It looked like he had the right line, the right pace, but just misses outside.
A little bit of shades of Joey Graybeal's round today so far, where he aced the first, and he's been all around it so far, but can't get one to drop right now.
Those are the worst nightmare kind of ones where it's like, hey, you know what? You didn't play poorly, but it's still going to eat you up. Probably worse than it would if you actually just had a bad showing.
Well, one of the issues is, and these players will know this, is we need one more ace on this course to cash the over. But of the first 5 holes on this course, 4 of those 5 are above average in terms of their scoring. They're easier holes. And players know that they want to get off to as best a start as possible there because that back 9 is treacherous. You have some holes like this, number 6, which can be treacherous if you put it past the hole and have a bad stance for your second shot. You have a hole like number 9, which is into the cave and it's tough. So it gets more challenging as we move on here. Players know that. And Greg Newport's going to have to find a way to get back in this, hit some aces here, or at least not put up some big scores. Because right now, our two favorites in Joey Graybeal and Greg Newport are finding themselves outside of the cut line.
Yeah, and we see that cut line does move there now. Greg Newport drops below it, where you're going to have an opportunity. The top three golfers of today move on to a sudden death playoff, but if there are golfers tied, there will be another matchup to determine who those final golfers are. But obviously, things have now shifted a little bit. Two golfers at -2. We've got John Powell in the clubhouse at -4, as you had mentioned, maybe sweating a little bit when he thought he might not have had to. And Randy Reeves with a pretty good approach putt, leaves that one just past the hole, but not into that danger zone we had kind of talked about up against the wall.
In my opinion, the risk reward on this hole is not worth it. I would always be playing this hole short of the cup if possible, because you look at the stats from tournament play, from the U.S. Open, from the Masters, this hole is aced less than 4% of the time. Yeah. It's about 1 in 25 that you're getting an ace on this hole. And if you get stuck up against that back wall, you just have a nightmare of a stance, as Michael Rutledge learned earlier on today. So I'd be playing this very conservatively, try to nestle it up short of the hole if possible. Maybe you get those last couple rotations that bring it into the hole. You really don't want to put this out far past the hole.
Well, Greg Newport not going to put that one past the hole for sure, as he leaves it a little bit short. Make that approach there, Rob, and kind of.
I think that's fine. I honestly do. You much rather be where Newport is right now than past the hole, and that's kind of exactly what I was talking about. Now, the difference is Greg Newport does have to make up strokes. He's not in the position where he's already past the cut line, so that's a little bit different. But ultimately, to me, this is a hole where I think it's unnecessary to get super aggressive.
Well, John Ventura here has only ever parred this hole. No aces, no bogeys. Looking to have a tidy hole number 6 here, and looking at the field, par 77% of the time, just 4% has the field been able to ace this. But John Ventura, if you want to open things up a little bit, now would be the time.
He rolled it over again, the little draw stroke there. And, that's a fine putt, honestly. I think that's really good. You have very close to what's a tap into. You don't bring risk into play at the back wall. Of course, you'd like to make ace on every hole, but there's somewhere it's just a little bit more challenging. And number 6, if we look at the top 7 holes on this course, the first 7, 2 and 6 are ones that you can end up putting up a big score.
And, I mean, you're talking about you want to ace every hole, Rob, by the way. You do have a golfer in this group, Greg Newport, one of the few people in the world to shoot a perfect 18 in a round of mini golf.
It's honestly absurd to even think about. Even if you were playing one of the easiest courses around, thinking about nailing every single one of your putts, the pressure that you'd feel down the stretch, it's insane that he's done that. And this is one that he's going to want to ace, because this is the most aceable hole on the course at just under 31%. You don't want to be too aggressive, because if you go past the hole, out of bounds is in play if you're coming in really hot. But this is a double breaker putt, goes left and then right, kind of that snake style putt, the S putt, as some people will call it. And that's a little bit too hard.
Yeah, it's too hard for the direct approach and not enough to get a little bit of playback off that back hill.
And you know what? I don't like the body language from Newport right now. He's really down on himself, and you could see as soon as he hit that one, he wasn't feeling it right away.
Well, and he had told us ahead of the event, the biggest enemy that he has is himself when he's out on the course. As much as this is about the field and playing other people, this is very, very much about going to war with yourself every time you're going to make a putt, approach the greens, how you're going to go about it, whether you're playing off the rocks, where you're hitting it, what the speed, the pace is. It's all within your own head, between your two ears, and it feels like he's fighting a battle right now.
I mean, 1 under at this point is not a bad score at all. It's just he knows that he's behind, and that can create a little bit of angst for some of these putters, as this is fast, but not fast enough to get all the way up to that hill. Little tap in deuce here for ace. He was going to one-hand it there, and then he thought better. And he's in there for a 2. Let's see if Randy can knock this one in. As ace, too, just coming up. You could tell the putters badly want to ace this one. They know this is an opportunity lost if they don't ace it here.
Well, this is one that overbetters on the over 15.5 on the total today are going to want here as well. Only needing one more to cash that.
Ooh, that's hard. Ooh. See that? You can bring danger into play if you go a little bit hard. If that didn't catch some of the hole, you do have out of bounds as a possibility.
Well, Randy Reeves will clean that one up, walk away with the par. 2 strokes here to get it done for Randy as we're about to head to our feature hole number 8, where we did see that total set out 1.5 ahead of the event. We did get one in the first group. We're going to need another one here for those overbetters to cash. That was the way we were looking when we did the preview show, when we were breaking down what might happen, where the odds were currently sitting at. And, I mean, Randy Reeves looking for the backdoor roll. That's all he had to say about this event here today. I think that maybe this is the way he approaches hole number 8 today.
Certainly. And again, we see the 3 lines up on screen there. You have your front door putt in white. You have the one that Michael Rutledge played, which is off of the hill in the back. Try to get it back into the back door, which seems like Randy Reeves will play. And then you have the banker off the left rock. So this is a really interesting hole altogether. We saw 1 ace with our first group. Total set at 1.5 here. So overbettors looking for at least one more ace. Underbettors hoping that no one can knock it in on this hole right now.
And you see those odds live up on screen right now. Minus 150 was the over set at ahead of the event here today. Sitting at the 1. Rob, good observation here by producer Jacob. Last week it was windy. They dealt with some of the elements. We've now seen a shift in how these guys are dressed for this event. Taking off the vests here, Randy, Ace, both have removed them just down to the golf shirts now. Do you think this plays a factor?
It's possible if they feel that was hindering their putting stroke in any way or they're getting too hot through them. Certainly, I could see why they would do that. Front door putt from Ace, the fist pump. Here we go. Ace is on a roll.
You know, if he was overheating, he could have probably just rolled down those socks a little bit.
Cash that over is exactly what Ace said. I think that ball out of the hole right there. Cash the over.
Overbetters, you are welcome.
The double dipper on the over. Hole-in-one tracker, 15.5. Total course amount, and the hole-in-ones on that hole. Great putt there. Great putt there by Ventura.
Well, that'll get it done for the hole-in-one markets. Still, obviously, our feature hole number 12 that we'll get to a little bit later. Still need one there, but Randy Reeves looking to come up and make it 2 straight on this hole number 8 for this group to continue to have some success here and keep up a good day that he's had so far.
He said he was looking for the back door, but he almost took the straight line there.
Yeah. Just doesn't get that one to go. Misses outside on the right side of the cup.
I think one of the advantages of playing that line, which is to the right of the hole, rolling it off the back and in, is if you do miss it a little bit short, you might get the break into the front door as well,
right,
which seemed like it almost happened there for Randy.
Well, only one hole-in-one on this hole between these two golfers, and Greg Newport looking to close it out with an ace himself and kind of get above that cut line yet again and put himself back into the competition. Obviously, still one more hole after this one to close out the front 9 before we move to the back, but this is one of those ones, an aceable opportunity. You want to take advantage of it. And he, using the back, gets it to go.
Greggy got it. Different shots. I love this hole. To me, this is what mini putt is all about. You have different lines to the hole. There he's showing up his WPL ball right there. Chromax ball, which actually is a little bit different than a regular golf ball, but these guys are fired up. This is a good round of golf from these 3 competitors right now, as they're tight in the mix. John Ventura moves up to 3 under. Newport and Reeves 2 under. All of them in the mix right now past the cut line. This is shaping up for an excellent hole number 9 and back 9, Zach.
Yeah, it feels very different from what we've watched out of this second group here compared to the first one, and even compared to event number one. I think there was a lot of dealing with the elements last week, having to kind of handle that, the wind, everything that was going on. You saw some of the higher scores, especially compared to this week. Even Graybeal, you look at that even, he would have been right in the mix last week. He would have been right there, part of it. But now looking at these four above the cut line, all three from this group number two, they're having themselves a pretty good day. Live odds board continues to move there as we're about to head to the cave hole. But before we see some live action from these putters, let's head down to the course and catch up with our T-side correspondent. Bye.
I have been in Myrtle Beach for less than 24 hours, and I've heard Ted Detweiler's name more than I'd like to know. I'm here with Ted Detweiler. I'm going to let you know. He's going to let you know why that is the case.
Hi everybody. Welcome to Myrtle Beach, South Carolina, the first Monday of March. The weather is incredible. The play is off the charts. It's heating up out there. It's heating up here. There's a lot of excitement, and we're happy to have PLN, Pro League Network, and the World Putting League, and sanctioned by the USPMGA. And I hope everyone is wagering responsibly.
Responsibly, hey? Yeah. Yeah, you're right. It is a beautiful day out here. The golfers have been moving through the course pretty fast. Ted, tell me, who do you think's looking good? Who do you think's looking scared? Talk to me.
Well, John Powell in that first group, he's always in the top 20. He's a solid player, so it doesn't surprise me that he came out on top. In this second group, Ventura's hitting some aces, and I think it might be neck and neck there towards the end. So it's exciting.
Ted, tell me, how often do the Versace glasses come out? Is that a WPL special thing, or is that an everyday thing?
I actually stole them from my dad, so he's over there, so he's probably going to try to get me. But Versace's come out at nighttime, but I brought them out daytime today, which I don't know how much time we got, but should I pop the collar?
I think it's time to pop the collar.
All right, I got to pop the collar. Hey, Rob, Rob, I see you got the Hawaiian shirt. I'm popping the collar, man. It's game time. Let's do this.
The collar has been popped. The wearer is good. Stay tuned.
The shades, the jacket, the WPL shirt, top-notch stuff.
Teddy Detweiler, a fantastic ambassador for the course. I wasn't sure at first about that polo with the blazer look.
It's growing on you.
But it's really growing. I honestly, I think I'm going to adopt that look now. I can't rock the shades like Ted can.
Right.
That's the only problem. I'm wearing the glasses, but fantastic look from Ted down at course side right there.
In unison and bringing together the WPL, us over here at the Hammer, the Pro League Network, Rob, I think for the finals, we might have to go blazer polo,
or at least pop collar.
At least pop collar.
We'll go pop collar for the final.
Yeah,
finals, 100%.
Shades too, maybe. Maybe we go
pop
shades.
Collar and shades. I'm not gonna lie, I've done it in the studio right now. I feel like a complete idiot with the pop collar, but I'll stick with it.
As we're like it.
Number 9 here, and Randy left himself some work on the deuce putt. And again, this is really challenging because you can play it lefty, you can play it righty, but there's a real advantage in being able to have your tee shot starting as far left as possible. And looking at Greg teeing this up here, he's going to play it righty with what looks like it's going to be a really awkward stance for him against that cave wall. I mean, look how tight this is for him. This is absurd.
This is insane. I'm not going to lie. That is outrageous.
You want to get as far? I mean, that's a great effort. He left himself some work. But that's challenging.
That was outrageous. That's one that I think Greg's going to look back at and say, why did I do that?
Well, I wonder in golf a lot of times what you feel and what actually happens in reality are very different things. And I really wonder what his comfort level is with that stroke. Is he comfortable in the moment? Does he feel extreme discomfort? Can he hit it on a line? I think there's a lot of ways that people can go about it. And you see John Ventura here, who's decided he's going to flip this over to the left-hand side.
What do you think felt more discomfort? Greg Newport leaning up against the rocks, for us with our collars popped the way they are right now?
I'm going to go with Greg on that one.
Yeah.
Locks in the back. Oh, that had some heat on it from Ace. They don't call him the hole-in-one hunter for nothing, Zach. He is hunting on every hole, as you just saw right there.
I think when you say they, you mean you call him the hole-in-one hunter.
Very positive.
Yes.
I'm sure someone else out there has at least said that once.
If they weren't before, they are now. Knocks that one in, walk away with the par here. You know what, Bob? I feel like an idiot. The socks, they're growing on me. I like them more and more the more I see them.
I'm all for flashy colors. See Randy Statham sometimes on tour wearing the pink pants. Joey Graybeal. Some people see him out there when they're driving by on the road that borders his course. They point, they're like, that's Ian Poulter out there with the pants that he's wearing. But right now, today, stealing the show is Ace Ventura with the yellow socks.
Well, the yellow socks are our popped collars. I'm not sure which is looking better, but you guys can decide whether you're watching on the worldputtleague.com or over on the Hammer HQ YouTube channel. You guys can let us know. Follow us along on Twitter as well, the Hammer HQ. You can also follow the World Putt League on there as well, and send in your photos of our popped collars, your popped collars, Ted's popped collar, whatever it is. Let us know how you're watching and viewing today's event. We do appreciate everyone who's watching along with us, but as we continue on the Survivor Series, Greg Newport still very much in the hunt here, and you're going to be looking to have a strong back nine to close this one out and advance on to the sudden death.
And this is one of the two holes on the back nine that are considered ace holes. Ones where players will be disappointed to not ace. Oh, and Greg just cannot buy a break. Cannot catch one. Talking to himself. That's how I look on the course, Zach, sometimes. I mean, I'm typically missing putts that are a lot easier than that one. But
yeah, you're missing from 2 feet away.
What do I got to do to get that one to drop? And it seems like he just is missing by millimeters on some of these putts.
Rob, can you explain to people who might be tuning in for the first time what's going on when these guys are lining up their putts here off the tee, for lack of better words, to the starting point of each hole? What goes into that? What are they doing? How are they setting it up? Why are they setting it up the way that they are?
So it doesn't really look like a scientific approach, but it really is. Putters will use their feet and the size of their putter head to measure out exactly where they want to place the ball, and then every putter will have an aim point. Sometimes it's stuff that's off the course that they can just use to try to hit on that line, and of course you got to get it with the right speed. And John Ventura did not like that stroke one bit. Completely walked off immediately.
And he's got a difficult putt for himself here on the way back, and he's really not happy with it right now. You see him completely walk away, take a new look at this. Take a look at that scorecard there up on the left side of your screen, breaking down how this hole plays out, how it funnels in, the ridges that you're going to be looking at.
You'll notice here, too, you very rarely see the putter walk to the other side of the hole, go down to their knees to read it. I wonder if this is a putt that John just has not had much before.
Right.
And this is very tough. When you go from reading traditional greens to trying to read the carpet, it's extremely challenging and very deceptive at times.
Ooh. He was not happy with where the ball was after his initial shot. Took some serious time to reconsider, reevaluate the approach that he was going to take on his second shot. And
he's in a bad state of mind right now.
This is not looking good for Ace Ventura. I mean, you hope that he can pull things together. This is only the first hole of the back nine. He was in good positioning going into it, but he seems rattled right now.
He does. I think part of it is that this is not traditionally considered a difficult hole. You have roughly an 18% chance of an ace. You have an average score of 1.96 across the U.S. Open and the Masters. So I think part of that is just extra frustration because it's not a hole that you typically fare poorly on. But we'll see if he can get out of that mindset he's still in a pretty good spot here, is Ace Ventura. So time for him to regroup and move on as Randy Reeves looks to pour in an ace here and start the back nine as he did.
Look at that scorecard, too. Ace, ace, and then just a pillar of consistency the rest of the way. Oh, wow. See, this is where you're talking about the risk reward. Just misses that ace opportunity. And now, similar to what we saw with John Ace Ventura, where he took a moment, step back, reevaluate. Yet again, look at this one from the other side of the hole. Randy Reeves taking a similar approach for this long putt back for 2.
And in my brief time of watching hole number 10 here, I have not seen the putts that John Ventura and Randy Reeves have faced on this hole.
Right.
Typically speaking, they've really settled around the hole. There's been some aces. And he drains it.
Knocks it down.
Continues his run of pars now. Pretty consistent for Randy Reeves there. And again, once we get into this back nine, which is underway here now, holes are a lot tougher. All 3 of our putters in this group at 2 under par through 10.
Well, heading over to hole number 11, we're looking at the live updated leaderboard there. We see John Powell still holding on to first out of the golfers here today in today's field at 4 under. Greg Newport, John Ventura, Randy Reeves all sitting 2 under right now. Newport and Ventura both sitting plus 300. And finally in this group, Randy Reeves, see a little bit of movement there as well, plus 333 through 10. All of those guys very close together. As we're going to head into this last back nine, or the last stretch here, where we're going to have a couple opportunities where this could go the other way. You see some of the aceable holes on the front, not as much so here on the back. This is where you just want to avoid trouble, isn't it?
This is the hole. Rick Alessi went out of bounds. Michael Rutledge went out of bounds. That one started a little bit too far to the right, but John is going to get away with it. Ends up being kind of exactly where you would like to be, with a fairly simple 2 here. But really, we've seen this hole ace less than 1% of the time. It's extremely challenging to ace it. 2 is a good score here. You take your 2, you move on. That's what Randy Reeves has done for the entirety of his career in professional tournaments. 100% par percentage on this hole. Lots of 2s, and that's just the point here. Keep it in play, live to fight another day.
Oh, Randy Reeves stepping up to the plate. I'll look to keep this thing in bounds and set himself up for a good opportunity at a par putt to close out.
That's
Very good approach.
Yep. 2 great strokes there from Ventura and Reeves back to back. No horseshoes there for Randy. That was a really good stroke all around.
Well, Randy Horseshoe Reeves is a member of the Putt Putt Hall of Fame, and he is one of the most experienced competitors in the field. He does hold the course record when he won the Masters in 2015, but not too much success since. Looking to change things up here today and get himself into that sudden death to put himself in a position to head on out to the finals on April 2nd, which you can find here on the World Putt League, the worldputtingleague.com, as well as here on the Hammer HQ YouTube channel, April 2nd out there in Myrtle Beach as well.
And Newport up there as well.
And a different approach for Newport than we just saw out of the last 2.
Likely missed the front hill a little bit to the left. Typically the ones that we see drain out to the top here don't get as much of a roll off the front hill as you get the close-up of the Chromax ball there. And Newport sneaks it in the left side. 3-2s on this hole. All players will be happy with that. As we move on to another one of our featured holes, Zach, hole number 12, multi-shot hole, various starting positions. Over bettors are looking for one more ace here. Under bettors are hoping for no action, as they would say. But this is the hole where some will use the rock, others will go for the straight putt. This used to play very good off the rock, but has changed in recent years. And you look at the competitors. Greg Newport thinks off the rock is his best chance for an ace out here. John Ventura, highest percent chance of a hole-in-one amongst the players in today's field. He is very aggressive with this hole. And Randy Reeves loves the deflections, looking to get the bounce off the rock as well. So
just going to need one to cash that over. 1.5 as well. We saw one in the earlier group. Going to need one out of these 3 remaining to cash plus 100 here today.
So on the front of this rock, which we do not see from this camera angle, there is a little white dot that players have their eyes on, and they're aiming for that aim point. If they do hit that line with their putt, they will get the right deflection towards the hole. But a little deviation from that, like we saw from Joey Graybeal, and you can just end up with a miss anywhere, really.
Randy off the rock, and not the exact bounce he was looking for, but
I think that putt had a little too much pace to it as well. It looked decent to me, but seemed like it might have just hit that rock a little bit too hard as he nails his deuce there. So, underbettors, live to fight another day.
Live to fight another putt.
Yes.
Greg Newport comes up. 2 more chances to cash the over here, but underbettors sitting at home biting their fingernails off right now and feel the pain. Greg Newport stepping up, will taking that approach off the rock here as well.
That looks like he might get it.
Gets it.
He did. Great speed, great putt, nailed it. Newport is thriving in the Myrtle Beach heat right now. And Joey Graybeal there, giving him the fist bumps. And you know what? I love to see that from other competitors as we see the WPL logo there from Greg Newport. But overbettors cash it. It was Ace Ventura who got the hole-in-one on number 8, cash the over, and Greg Newport does it for overbettors on number 12.
I love Greg Newport flashing the ball to the camera every time. Just to say, keep me in mind, check this out, and show that ball. We have one on display here in the studio, and it is stunning.
Ace misses that to the underside of the hole right there, and we'll tap it for 2.
Is that one down?
And we are going into a gauntlet right now. From 13 to 18, there's not a single hole here that is aced more than 9% of the time. This particular one, number 13, the hole breaks severely from right to left. The graphic shows the angle with the cup closest to us right there.
Right.
But you'll notice that the putt breaks from right to left. You can use the bank shot there as well. Or you can get a little bit of a kick off the back. There's lots of opportunities here. But essentially, what you're going to try to do is miss the hole to the right side.
Well, we did see that bank used in the first group. And Rob, taking a look at the leaderboard there, Powell -4, Newport -3, Ventura and Reeves currently both tied at 2 under right now. And you see a little bit of discrepancy there. Ventura +320, Reeves +400. Does this not feel like one of those ones where you feel you might have an opportunity to jump in on something live with Reeves, given how even it's felt here today, given the balls that we're about to see left, and you just got to get into that sudden death? +400, is that maybe worth a sprinkle live?
Yeah, I don't mind that at all. I mean, he's putting really well today.
Yeah.
You can say that for all 3 in this group, though. Aside from Ventura with, a bogey where you would love to have that back, a couple holes back, seeing these guys pretty consistent today. Not a lot of mistakes, really attacking the hole. I think there's been some really good putting overall from this group. We're looking at that bank shot that the other players tried to like. Newport does not like that bounce. Did not like that. Let's see where that ended up. And he did not like that original carom, and he's looking back at the rock, and that's one of the challenges you get when you're playing off of the rocks, is you don't always get the same consistent bounce.
Rob, Greg seems, I haven't had the chance to meet this guy, so I'll preface with that. He seems like the kind of guy who's the nicest guy ever, but he could snap a club over his knee if it came down to it.
I think anyone can snap a club over their knee if it came down to it.
I mean, in terms of the switch flips.
Yeah. You don't want to throw your putter into oncoming traffic here, or the bike riders going by. That would be a huge mistake.
Right into the spoke of this guy wheeling by.
That would be a lawsuit waiting to happen right there. Hey, get off this hole as quickly as possible, Greg.
Newport gets a bad bounce off the rock. Some biker wheeling by takes a putter head to his head.
Tough break. But yeah, that's the risk with playing that shot. We did see aces with that shot.
Yeah.
First group. But you get a bad kick, and all of a sudden you're in no man's land for your deuce putt, and that's incredibly challenging. It does look like Ventura is going to play that same line from the look of things.
Does Ventura have a goat on his shirt?
It's the Pro League Network standardized logo, the goat. Oh, that was close. Great putt. Great effort.
A good approach there. Doesn't get it to go, but he's still remaining in the mix. Now Randy Reeves, after this, an ace here for him on a hole that it's not impossible, but difficult to get. Following up Ventura and a tough miss for him. The door is open for Randy.
That is a big miss. That drops him below the cut line right now. And you can see the frustration. You can feel this. You could feel the frustration for the last several holes. Ever since that earlier bogey. He's talking to himself. He just needs to regroup here. He's played pretty solid today. And that's not where you want the bounce to come off of. That'll be fine for a deuce putt. But typically speaking, you want the second bounce to come from the right side of the hole, not the left.
Clears out a little pathway for himself there. The way Randy's been playing today, so calm, cool, and collected in every situation. Be able to knock that one down, walk away, even par, and that's kind of all he needed there. You know, it would have been nice to get the ace, but with Ventura there stumbling a little bit, taking bogey on this hole, Randy's now sitting within the cut line and taking a look at the live leaderboard. Powell plus 180, Newport plus 200, Randy Reeves moves just within one hole there, plus 400 to plus 250, and Ventura is now sitting outside that cut line at 1 under, plus 700. Hole 14 coming up here, Rob. Getting down to the nitty-gritty, the final two holes of this second group. What do you make of the movement we've seen here and Newport and Reeves' ability to kind of hold on, with Ventura only being one back, but still at plus 700?
Yeah, the challenge with being only one back right now is it's hard to make up ground on these holes without the other putters making a mistake. So Ventura is a very aggressive putter, but you look at the hole-in-one percentages for these holes coming down the stretch, 2.4%, 0%, 8.7%, 6.8%, and then number 18, 1%. So he knows he's up against it here. As an aggressive putter, it's still going to be very challenging for him to make up ground.
Ooh. Wow. Well, the approach that he took there, even we're talking about that turning the hands over.
Yep.
Felt like it was very much in play and just doesn't get it to drop there for that ace opportunity, but does walk away with the par on this hole.
Yeah.
He's standing outside the course there, as you can see. 1 foot on flat ground, 1 foot up elevated on the rocks.
This is a very, very tight line. You're hoping to get just the right kick off the back. So far in this event, we haven't seen the putters get those. Like, you're just bouncing all over the place.
Yeah.
Sometimes up in the air, sometimes left, sometimes right. Very unpredictable kick on this hole. And lots of players left with some challenging deuce putts. That's why you see the full average at 2.17 strokes here from the last two major events.
Reeves taking his time to line this one up, yet again going to the other side of the hole. As you mentioned, Rob, this is not a common practice amongst these golfers. A lot of times they've got the books, they've got their notes that they refer to, they've got things written down, charted out. But even if at that, when these guys aren't referring back to those notes, a lot of times we're seeing them look at this from even just behind the ball. So Randy here stepping up to knock this one down after taking some time. And he gets it to go. Even par for Randy on this hole. Now Greg Newport taking a similar line to what we saw out of Randy. Out over to the side. And he's taking his time to line this one up as well. Truly, this would be a disaster for me. Jacob standing on the ground like that. 1 foot, different elevation, other foot on an angle, and not quite the result that Greg wants there. But I mean, I would end up in a much worse position than him if my feet were like that. I don't know about you, Jacob.
Listen, if you're on the World Putting League circuit, you got to be able to play no matter where your feet are.
That is true. Well, Greg looking to clean this one up, and he does a bit of tidy business from himself there. Walks away with yet another par, and he didn't even look that impressed with it. He's probably happy to walk away with that, but based on the approach putt that he had taken before that shot. Take a look at that beautiful Hawaiian Village pineapple course, but hole 15 up next as we look to close out this second group in the back 9 here. These golfers still competing for their final spot in that sudden death round and an opportunity to head to the finals on April 2nd. Taking a look at the live leaderboard right now. Greg Newport jumping all the way up, plus 180, tied with John Powell there. Still 2 strokes behind, but as we've mentioned, once you get to sudden death, blank slate, you start again. You're just looking to be top 3 through the first 2 groups. Randy Reeves, plus 190 now. Rob, I mean, I may know a thing or two about the spending stuff. Plus 400, that looks like a good number compared to where we're at right now.
You're right. And 16-1, John Ventura now, I know he's one back, but you look at these remaining 4 holes, all the scoring averages on these holes are 2.13 or higher. It's not like someone else can't make a bogey here. So Ventura, unlikely to birdie. Look at Newport in the background there, really trying to get the line from behind the bushes. Looks like a stalker back there. Andy Reeves. But again, that's light. That's some work to do.
Yeah.
This is the hole where you just don't ace. 15.
That camera cut of Greg Newport is gold.
Big time. Yeah. Could turn that into a meme for sure. I'll tell you right now.
Yeah, I need
World
that
Putting
image.
League social guy.
Yes.
That's meme material right there.
Please use that. I need to save it and make it memes myself. He's evaluating this putt here. I mean, we've seen most of the golfers in the first group. We saw most of the golfers in event number 1 as well. Rob, not really have it this short. And by short, I mean we've seen the ball kind of make its way more to the back side of the hole here from the angle that we're looking at, kind of going back towards the tee. It seems to be one of the first shots we've seen with this approach.
It's just really a challenging hole because it's hard to get it close to the hole. You got to have the perfect speed to kind of ride around that sort of ring there. And you're going to be left in tough deuce putt regardless. So this is why we see the scoring average of 2.18%. This is why we see no hole-in-ones on this course in competitive tournament play.
To go.
Snuck it in there. Did Randy. Tractor beam. Sucked it right in.
Look at Joey. Look at that salad he's got going on.
Yep. I mean, I'm going to send Joey a text after the round today, but 0-1 with the mullet. And you got to really wonder, the diet in combination with the mullet.
I don't know. Joey might have to change some things up next one, but he is the GOAT, so who are we to tell him?
True. That is true.
You think he saw my hair and said, I got to be like that?
It's very possible.
Yeah.
It's very possible.
Well, Greg Newport looking to close this one out and remain in that top 3 that looks to be headed to sudden death. gets it to go. Ace Ventura. Those right socks in the sun. Right socks. Clears out the path. It's Newport and Graybeal.
Man, look at these flashy socks. I really can't get over it.
I know. I'm genuinely mesmerized every time the camera cuts to it.
This is a tough hole to go last for Ventura. He's seen the other competitors card a 2. He knows he's not going to ace. So he knows he can't make up ground. It's going to feel like the walls are closing in on him at this point. Just less and less holes remaining. Let's see if he can nestle one up in there. It's a pretty decent effort.
And a different approach than we've seen from a lot of the players today.
One of the challenges with the putt that he just hit, and why I don't think it's seen all that often, is if you hit it a little too hard, you bring the out of bounds
right
over that back hill.
Right.
But if you do get the right speed, like he did right there, you end up with an easier juice.
Now, as we wrap up that hole here, Rob, and we're going to take a look at the leaderboard yet again, see where the cut is currently sitting at. A little refresher for people on the format of today's event. We saw the winner, Tim Talley, last week. He was the outright winner of last week's event. He won the sudden death. We're going to continue to push on with these 3 golfers. The top 3 of today's event are going to end up in the sudden death. And the winner of that guarantees themselves a spot with Tim Talley in the finals. Now, how it works outside of that is this way. We saw these opening rounds, excluding the sudden death, the best 2 scores after that, the next 2 best scores out of event number 1 and event number 2 here will find themselves into those final 2 wildcard spots on April 2nd to complete that group of 4.
And it's important to note Rick Alessi and Brian Johnson both tied with a 1 under in terms of their final score last time around. They played afterwards. The score has been kept a secret, but one of those 2 did beat the other head-to-head for tie-breaking purposes, should we get there as well.
Look at Graybeal looking on from the side there.
The meme material is coming in very hot today.
I need the WPL to
scare one of the putters coming around the corner.
I need images of all of that. I need it in some Rolodex for meme material. As we head to hole number 16, another look through the tunnel here. I'm referring back to where these guys were coming into this. Randy Reeves, these guys are all my friends, but I have experience on them. They are all young, as we mentioned here. He is one of the most experienced competitors in today's field, and he's been using that experience to his advantage.
Yeah, I honestly do think it helps a lot. Whether or not you believe in course history on the PGA Tour, I think it's definitely a factor on the World Putting League. And Randy does have the experience at this course. Look at a guy like Michael Rutledge earlier, shot 1 over, someone that just doesn't play this course all that often. Practiced it a lot this week, but was not able to overcome that. This hole number 16 is a challenging one. It's uphill 90% of the way. Got to get it up to that top of the hill. Green breaks from right to left, so you'll want to see this start just slightly right of the hole, come back into the left, but you got to make sure you get the putt up to the top where it's coming right back. And then you hope that it comes out of bounds so that at least you can re-tee it again and hit that same putt.
Now, Greg Newport really taking his time to set this putt up, clearing the course. And
trying to get Graybeal out of there.
Yeah, he's saying,
get lost.
What the hell are you doing? You think Graybeal's taking chips out onto the course there? He's standing off to the side in the mulch. But, Newport taking his time to get himself ready. And for those wondering, yes, some clarification on what went down. There was an OB on 13 for Greg Newport. That's why he moved from -3 to -2 there. So an OB on 13 is what led to that change in the scorecard.
And you can tell by his reaction on that hole as well. But the scorecards that are shown on screen are correct for every one of the golfers, including the cut line for live betting purposes. Big putt here for Newport. Ooh.
A lot of power behind that.
And you notice the break right to left. It's just a matter of timing that break with speed. The challenge is you just don't want to leave this putt short. So you often see putters put this past the hole because they'd rather deal with this deuce putt and have the putt roll all the way back down to him. The problem is this deuce putt goes past the hole, you could be in for a world of hurt.
Yeah. Wow.
And he drains it.
That was flirting with danger there. I felt like an opportunity for it to come up short, but it doesn't.
You know what, Zach? It shows up as a 2 on the scorecard no matter what.
Yeah. They don't ask how, they ask how many.
Yeah, we don't get the Chromax ball after that the deuce putt that barely went in.
I need to see it. Someone tell him to get it up on camera. Ventura. See, there might be something falling from the sky.
Something is happening on this hole where I don't know if it's good luck to walk through the tunnel once and back, but
it's the opposite of the ladder.
Yes, they're walking through it and seeing what's going on the other side.
Ventura, he's going to need a little bit of a miracle here.
This is his best ace chance the rest of the way. He's going to give it a go. And he's got the
over.
draw. He's got the draw.
And it goes.
Ventura.
And he's right back in. 16-1, Rob. We're seeing those odds at. That ace there pushes them back to -2 and right in line with Newport.
And look at how the body language changes, right? Just really down on himself the past 3-4 holes, and then all of a sudden that ace is completely rejuvenated. This has really been some good putting today on display, especially in this back end of the ladder group today. Randy's got to get it up there.
Could it go? Well, it hangs on. It's got enough to stay. As we said when we watched event number 1, Rob, these are the ones where you see the ball get there and you start running. You go and place your chip. And
you don't get to mark the balls, unfortunately, on
WPL,
here. But if you could.
But if you could, I would be using a putt buddy.
Yes.
For sure, to mark mine.
100%.
Randy again here. This is something we hadn't even seen out of the front 9. And then all of a sudden in the back, it comes into play where he's taking a look at these on either side. I don't know if he decided to dial in a little bit more. I don't know if he's feeling the pressure from ace, but he's really taking his time and making sure he's got these lined up properly.
And he drains it.
Graybeal there. I'm interested to see what position he puts himself in on the next hole and how he towers over it. But looking back at that leaderboard there yet again, Ace Ventura was sitting plus 1,600 only a few holes ago, now back to plus 300. Himself, Newport, and Reeves all tied at 2 under here through 16, 2 holes left to play. John Powell is still sitting at -4. And you know what? We thought based on the way that this round had started, you know what? Maybe this is going to be one where John Powell's score today could be in danger. It's proven to have held up as a very, very good performance.
For sure. The question is whether or not the time off the course is going to have a negative impact on John Powell. And interestingly enough, we've seen Michael Rutledge on the course. We've seen Joey Graybeal. Have not seen John Powell to the side there. So wonder if he's just gotten out of the sun, sitting in the shade, enjoying this in the clubhouse,
taking a nap,
doing something. Right now, as it stands, though, we'd be looking at a 4-man playoff. Ooh. Tricky kick there.
Well, it looked like Ace went for it. Kind of just looked at the cards and said, I'm going out swinging.
Yeah, this is a chat. Like, you can ace this hole. It's been done before. There's that very steep incline. We saw Michael Rutledge leave it short. It came all the way back down to him. But players are just trying to hit the back bricks here and get a deuce putt somewhere around the hole. This is more than Ventura would have wanted to leave in particular here. It's a pretty testy putt. Oh, my goodness.
Wow. Wow.
Oh, my goodness. What did we just witness? That thing was this close to being down.
Yeah. It was that close to missing. Gets a grip on the hole, spins all the way around, and then launches itself out. And we went through every emotion there with Ace. As
So
he
I went
watched
through
that
the
moment.
emotions too. I bet on Ventura.
I forgot.
Real
about-
life money. I forgot. Producer Jacob bet on Ventura as well. This is the Ventura army over here. We needed that one to go down.
Ventura Nation.
Randy, very
Just
nice.
stay
Nestles
up
it
there.
up there.
Yep.
Well done by Randy. And I think Greg will be looking to do the same now after Ventura missed that. No need to necessarily play for an ace here. Just got to get it up top. Get the best deuce putt possible. Because as it stands right now, if things were to hold up with a Greg Newport par here, very likely Ventura would be rooting for someone to bogey final hole.
Yeah. An on-course mic would have been very interesting for Ventura after watching that putt, because normally Dis is saying in the chat there, that's one of those ones. It's the NFL All Access, behind the scenes mic'd up moments. That's when you'd want to watch from the WPL.
There would be a lot of bleeping. Would be my guess. If Ace was mic'd up there. I don't know that we would have got many words in.
Oh,
that's pretty well done too there by Newport.
Narrowly misses the ace opportunity by Newport, but looks pretty happy with himself in that approach and what he's left to walk away with a par. 17 gets it down. Well, Jacob, I don't know if you noticed what Rob did, but talked all day about no commentator mush, no commentator mush. Right before Ventura steps up, says, if things stay the same, four-man playoff.
We can't put that one on the commentator. We can't put that. There's a loaded bridge back there. Graybeal. I think I saw Gary Hester out on the course as well, who played last week. Coming to see the competitors in event number 2 as we head to hole number 18. As mentioned, John Ventura, likelihood of an ace here, just 1%. So he's going to be open for Greg Newport or Randy Reeves to make a mistake. And it's very possible on this hole. Out of bounds comes into play on the right-hand side. This green breaks severely from left to right. It's really hard to see the difficulty of this tee shot until you watch it multiple times. But this is a hole with a scoring average of 2.28 across the Masters and U.S. Open. So certainly a bogey is possible for one of Newport or Reeves on hole number 18.
And Rob, this is one that we've seen basically through event number 1, round 1, round 2, through event number 2 here, round 1. All of these guys, the way that it seems like they've kind of tried to play it is just get up there, knock it in for par, and get out. Like this has been a no-risk type of hole. Just get it as close as you can and see you later. Obviously for Ace, he's going to have to take a little bit of a different approach, but that's where we've been at so far with how they've played this one in the past. Whoa.
That was...
Reeves.
And you see the margins. That was about as dicey as it could get. Dare I say, the horseshoes came into play again for Randy Reeves there. But he's going to step up here, and he is going to secure a spot in the playoff that will be coming up following this round. Greg Newport up here. And again, Greg's going to be playing, in all likelihood, for a 2 here. And that's a great putt by Newport. Stepping up quickly. Newport rocking the darker shirt today.
Yeah.
In the sun. Don't know about that.
You know what? You got to get hot when you're in an event like this. It's a short spurt. Maybe he's using that black to attract the sun, attract the heat.
Yep.
And
could be looking
use
for a
that
base
fuel.
tan as well at this point of the year as well. Summer's coming around the corner.
That's what I'm looking for. Look in the mirror and realize I'm ghastly, and it's quite concerning.
Do or die from Ace here. He's got to ace this in order to force his way into the playoff. He might take a different line here. Out of bounds doesn't matter anymore.
Shaking his head looking at this approach.
He knows. He knows what he's up against right now. It's a 1 in 100 shot. And he's thinking about potentially an alternative way that he could play this hole that will result in a hole in one.
Just one time, gentlemen.
I mean, there's no sense in playing the routine shot at this point.
No.
I will just leave him eliminated. So here we go.
His chance at a Survivor Series sudden death match on the line. Needs it to go. And he's not going to do it.
And you know what? I don't blame him at all. That's going to be an out of bounds. Ultimately, it's going to hurt his final score. But he had to try to take a line that was unconventional where he could try to secure an ace. And he'll be disappointed. He was off to a very strong start today, but ultimately just couldn't keep it together as the round went on.
No, that's the risk that he had to take. He was on the outside looking in and knocks that putt in. It's going to be an unfortunate day for him as he's not going to make it to the sudden death, the final round to determine today's outright winner, who goes on for that second spot of the two event winners to compete on April 2nd in the final round. But he had to do it. He had to kind of leave it on the line there and give himself any type of opportunity to jump back into that final group.
Powell, Newport, and Reeves will be our final three. Sounds like a law firm right there. But great putting from all three of them today, especially Powell in that first round was unconscious today with the 4 under. Newport and Reeves did what they had to do, secured their spot. And as we saw first time around, this is anyone's game at this point. Tim Talley went in as the underdog with Rick Alessi and Brian Johnson. He came out on top in that second hole. We'll see what this brings today, Zach.
Well, and the theme of it has been a sprint, right? You come out, you're ready to go, and you've got to just go low for a round. Joey Graybeal is able to take advantage of the fact that he's been in some of the tournament play. Get a couple of rounds, you play well through those, and then when it comes to the moment, you're able to attack and close things out. But in this one round event, it's not going to be the case for him. That will be from Putt Buddies. We're going to check out a short video from the sponsor of today's event, Putt Buddies, which are these really cool divot tools and ball markers. So thank you to Putt Buddies.
Putt Buddies bring high-quality craftsmanship, artistic expression, humor, and personality to your next round. They not only feature some of your favorite characters from movies and TV, they also rethink the way you express yourself on the course. Now, go to your happy place. That's puttbuddies.golf.
Rob, I need one of those.
That Chubbs divot repair tool with the hand is amazing.
It's
Truly
top
amazing.
notch.
Rest in peace to Carl Weathers, but iconic character. I mean, I'm going to go pick up one of those immediately after the show.
Yeah, I'm going to need that, and there's many more options that they have available as well. I think the one for me is going to be Dr. Evil. He's got Mini-Me there, as well as the little thing on the front that he puts down as the ball marker. Those are pretty incredible, so shout out to Putt Buddies. But as we head to the sudden death, our final three golfers, if you're not familiar, here's our sudden death rules. We're going to start at hole number 1. Participants will see who will be the last one standing. You win or tie the hole, you survive and advance. If you have the worst score on that hole, you are eliminated. Your day is over.
We're going to go to number 1 here. And honestly, look at the odds. They're so close, it's anyone's game at this point.
Well, we did see it play a factor for Alessi in last week's event where he did take time off there between his round and sudden death, and he was the only one who wasn't able to ace. But things will change here for Powell, and we can turn that narrative around as he leads off the sudden death, and he gets it to drop. So you have to think that's going to be good enough to get him onto this next one here with an ace. It's now going to put some pressure on the next two putters, though, because you don't knock in an ace and the next guy does. That could be the end of your day.
Greg Newport over here. He did ace this first time around, just snuck in the side door. I don't know that he loves it, but he got it. 2 for 2. Pressure is on Randy Reeves now. If he does not say this, he is officially eliminated from competition today.
But we will see him at the finals on April 2nd there. But he's still on the wild card, for those wondering, watching live right now. Clearing a little pathway out for himself. Stepping up on the side. Got a couple inch elevation above the ball there. Splits the rocks and not
missed
gonna
it to
go.
the right. And Randy did face that the first time around as well, where both competitors before him went ace. That time he did ace, but this time around he does not. He shakes hands with Powell and Newport. We're down to 2 men here for our winner of event number 2, WPL Survivor Series.
That'll be it for Randy's day, but continuing on. I mean, the 2 competitors still wearing black here, Rob. They're the ones remaining. We talked about how strange it was to see he was the only one. Greg was there. Powell keeping the jacket on, himself warm, comfortable, and maybe noticing a trend with the black top.
We're on to number 2 here, which was previously an unaceable hole until we saw Randy Reeves ace it about an hour ago. Takes something special to put another ace in here, but that would almost certainly win it for either of these competitors. Most of the time, they will be aiming for a 2. This hole takes a huge 180-degree turn to the right, and if you don't hit it hard enough, it's going to come back to you. So the goal is to just nestle it up as close to the hole as possible for Greg Newport right here.
Well, that's going to be a bit of a difficult putt for him as he ends up past the rock, long and further away, not at quite the angle that he would want to take back at this hole. And this is kind of playing out as a similar situation to what we did see last week. But
he seems very familiar with this putt. It didn't take a lot of time here.
Quick look,
and
it's good enough.
Smooth stroke.
Well, it's going to take a bit of a miracle here for Powell to walk away with a victory after hole number 2, but let's see one ace here earlier today. Could we see another?
Ooh, got a little kick there. That could have been a very decent putt.
Powell to send this to 3. Gets it to go. No doubt. With confidence standing over that putt, and it pays off.
And this is a nice 3-hole stretch we got coming up here to try to crown a champion of event number 2. Because 3, 4, and 5 are all aceable holes. And if we look at the live betting odds, very close to a pick 'em right now. Yeah. Greg Newport, a small favorite. But hole 3, players are going to be looking to play that bank shot off the yellow brick. Ace percentage, about 18.8% of the time. All it takes is one good shot now from either of these 2 competitors. And it's all she wrote.
And, you know, we're looking at this odds board, and as much as we might look at over time, one of these putters, you might think Newport may be the better putter all around overall. This is a hole-by-hole competition now. This is who can score, whoever is going to score the worst at any given moment is going to be out, and it's just about trying to maintain some level of consistency from one to the next. Powell playing off the back.
Oh,
just misses ace opportunity.
And Newport's playing with house money now.
Yeah.
It's got to feel great to be second on these putts and know that your competitor is in for a 2.
Well, Newport with a chance to win it with an ace here. Wrap up event number 2. Laying off the bank. On a line.
Oh, and he just
No
didn't
good.
catch it. That was about as close as you could come as well. It's a couple times, I think, with Newport on this hole where he's just marginally missed his hole.
Well, we talked about how he had kind of a similar round to start, at least to Graybeal, where it was like close but can't capitalize. He's been able to stick around. He's been able to get it done. I mean, now where you're at with this, you had a great round here today. You did have that one OB that kind of sets you from -3 back to the -2 range. Powell had an incredible day. This has been just a great day of putting here, Rob.
It sure has been. It's been pretty solid all around. We got a couple more holes here in 4 and 5, which are aceable holes. 4 is that front door putt. You really got to get the speed perfect. You tee it up to the right. You challenge the hill on the left here a little bit with a very slow pace and just hope you nail it. We saw both Newport and the rest of his group actually miss this one out to the right. And it happens again. This catches a little bit of the hole, but with too much pace.
He's going to get some relief off the wall. See Reeves and Graybeal. Rutledge there standing in the background, watching on eagerly. And as you said, a very aceable hole. So that going second, it's got to be a good feeling. You know the guy's in for 2 ahead of you here. 2 for Newport's sake, but gets it to go. Now Powell stepping up.
This could do it.
An ace here. Give him the outright victory.
Kind of feels a little bit, has the feel of penalty kicks in soccer or hockey shootout, where it's just back and forth and each person with a chance to win it. And Powell's left it out to the right. So this will likely extend to another hole, as Powell's going to have to put this in here. And we move on to hole number 5.
At this point, it's a matter of who wants it more. Who is hungrier for the outright victory at event number 2, World Putt League Survivor Series?
Do you actually believe it is who is hungrier? No. Neither do I. It's about
maybe
technical prowess at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
Hole number 5, breaking from right to left, uphill the entire way. Different ways to play this shot. Who's going to play it better? No adjustments in the live odds. Greg Newport still a very slight favorite at -115 over John Powell.
I want some theatrics here, Rob. Give us all the way around, touch the whole hole, and then drop in for an ace from Powell. That's what I want to see.
I'd love to see something like that.
I'm one for the theater.
Man. Get there. The amount of lip outs we've seen so far in this playoff, through the roof. You really got to wonder if the brimmed hat is still needed with the amount of shade on the course. I mean, at this point, it's been on all day. You don't mess around with it. Drains us too. So
Nice
consistent
touch
here. Been consistent so far. Greg Newport looking for the walk-off.
Walk-off ace, throws his putter into the street.
We get it. We definitely get a view of the ball on camera.
Picks up the ball. Yeah, that's guaranteed. This is like betting color of the Gatorade at Super Bowl. But this, he wins here. We see that ball on camera. For a chance of victory, chance of glory.
Turned it over. Got it.
And he's got it.
Greg Newport, the king of consistency, is elated with his victory. Cash it, plus 225, Greg Newport bettors prior to the tournament. Can't take away anything there from John Powell. Very impressive performance today. Shot the best round of all 12 of our competitors across 2 rounds. As you see Joey Graybeal there congratulating Mr. Greg Newport, Andy Reeves, Michael Rutledge. The crew is there. And you see these guys support one another on the World Putting League. But ultimately, Newport gets it done. He will be taking on Randy Reeves on April 2nd in our finals. John Powell moves on to take on our previous winner from last week, Tim Talley. One of these 4 will be our World Putting League Survivor Series winner.
And Rob, this was incredible putting here today. And you know what? I think that we did a pretty good job on commentating. I wanted to dunk on you a little bit with the mush that I said that you gave Ace Ventura, but I'll give you the credit on this. If you watched the preview that we did, you had Newport as a value pick and the guy you thought was going to have a good opportunity at winning this event here today over Joey Graybeal.
If we go back and watch the preview shows,
yes,
prior to the live broadcast,
which you should be doing,
which you should do. I did like Tim Talley in event number 1. I did love Greg Newport in this event. We came to the preview show, live broadcast. I might have changed a little bit there.
Yeah.
Unfortunately for the worse, but ultimately it was a great event, pretty wide open. And Newport is he's a great putter. I'm glad to see him finally perform at this level because you consistently see him high on the odds board.
Yeah.
You see him in events like the U.S. Open, the Masters, doing really well, and then kind of falls off after that whenever the cameras are on. But finally today, put it all together. Couldn't have happened to a better guy. Greg Newport, really well-liked putter on tour.
And there you go, the outright winner of event number 2, Greg Newport, plus 225 coming into this one. I mean, we had an opportunity to sit here and watch the entire thing from the studio, but we will go down now horse side to hear about what went on and the emotions of today's event from our correspondent guy.
I'm here with Greg Newport, the winner of the Survivor Series Episode 2. Greg, you're going to Disney World. On the 2nd of April, Greg's going to be facing off in the final. Greg, tell me, how do you feel?
I feel great right now. This course can eat you alive, and basically it matches Survivor Series perfectly. You just got to be patient. Deuces are a good score on this course. Try to get your aces when you can. I was fortunate enough to get one there at the end.
I saw that. Greg, what was the easiest hole to get into today?
Well, I've always felt hole 8 was a good hole for me. 1 is a good hole. Unfortunately, with 1, it's hard to get. It's good ace hole, but to start matching your speed in line immediately is kind of hard to do. But I really like hole 8. Hole 8 kind of matches my game, and I did make it in the show, so that was good. But wow, I mean, when I walked up to hole 5, I said, okay, well, if you got one good putt to hit, this will be the time to hit it, and I perfectly hit it right in the hole. It was a good feeling.
Tell me, did any of the competitors give you a run for your money? Who do you think played well? Who were you more scared of that could have pulled out a better performance?
Being really scared, it's not about the others to me. It's about myself. As long as I play my game, I feel good. I feel like I'm good enough to compete with anybody. So basically, I'm playing the course. And down at the end, it was good to know the scores I needed to shoot and just be able to finish up. I mean, after my mistake, I didn't really feel like I made a mistake on 13. I just got a bad kick off the brick and made the 3-putt from going out of bounds, and then just hold on to dear life. Coming in, I knew 2 under was going to be good enough to make it to April. And also to make the playoffs, so that was good. It was unfortunate for John to have a couple of mistakes there at the end, but that's the way this course is. I mean, it will penalize you in a hurry if you're not on your game.
Awesome. Well done, Greg, and I'll see you April 2nd. Once again, thank you to Putt Buddies for sponsoring the event, and we'll see you April 2nd. Stay tuned.
Thanks to Guy and Greg out there on the course, and congratulations to Greg on the outright victory at event number 2 here of the World Putt League Survivor Series. This was an incredible event. The entire Pro League Network and World Putt League team has put on an incredible show. We're happy to be a part of it. So thank you to everyone who tuned in, whether that was on the worldputtingleague.com or if it was over our HQ YouTube channel. Regardless of how you followed along, we're glad that you did. So thank you to everyone who tuned in here today. We greatly appreciated it. We will be back April 2nd for the finals with the Final Four golfers, Tim Talley, Randy Reeves, Greg Newport, as well as John Powell to close up this Survivor Series. Thanks to everyone who tuned in here today. For all things World Putt League, you can head over to worldputtingleague.com. For myself, Zach Phillips, for my co-host today, Rob Pizzola, our on-course correspondent Guy, our in-studio producer, Jacob Grimenya, and all the amazing people running the show over at the Pro League Network and the World Putting League. Thank you so much for watching. We will see you all on April 2nd.